It is a period of turmoil. Killer robots striking from a hidden laboratory have won their first victory against the evil cybernetic Minotaur. During the battle, rebel scientists managed to steal secret plans to the Illuminati's ultimate weapon, the Control Room, a nigh-impenetrable facility using technology adapted from a recent brain slug invasion with the capability to assimilate the entire planet. Pursued by the Illuminati's sinister agents, Jim the scientist races home aboard his starship, custodian of the stolen plans that can save his colleagues and restore freedom to the galaxy. Welcome to episode 200, listeners. I am Derek, and with me as always is Jim. Hi, Jim.
Hello, it's me.
Hooray! And we couldn't decide who to have on as a guest.
Our well is deep.
Our well is very deep, right? And episode 200 is kind of a big deal for us. So I thought, well, we have me, we have Jim here. I think we should just kick this off by talking about a question that's kind of been on my mind for a while since we've been recording episodes of this, which is, what does vaguely scientific mean?
Oh, that is a really good question.
It is a great question.
I always think of it as taking a look at something, and this is not true across the board, but I
Sure.
feel like one of the things that we'd like to do on this show is to try to take something that really has no business being answered scientifically and try to answer it scientifically.
I think that's a very good way of putting it, because I always kind of think, like, the way that the title of the show came about was just our conversations in high school and on of we would just overanalyze things, and we would always say we have these vaguely scientific conversations about things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, to me, it's never been like specifically talking about science. It is the method or the way in which we talk about things, I suppose.
Yeah. And that's actually, I think, a really important part of it, because when you look at questions that we answer that, you can answer with scientific inquiry. And I mean, so specifically, I'm thinking of things like, what are alternatives to grass in your garden? There is an answer to that. And there are a lot of people out there that have done a lot of research into what the best way to sort of go grass free is. But there's research involved in that. There's the scientific method involved in that. And I think that's another big part of it, is that we're going through sort of step by step and trying to make hypotheses, even if they are, sometimes wildly inappropriate hypotheses for the subject matter.
Verging on absurd often, yeah.
Yeah.
So usually when we have panelists come on this show, especially for the first time, that's always a bit of a hurdle to say, what is vaguely scientific? What is actually an appropriate thing to talk about? A lot of times I'll get, how is that question scientific? And I'll always have to explain, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the best ways to say what does vaguely scientific mean in the context of this show is to kind of explore everything we've done on the show.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, let's get some of our panelists in here and see what they want to talk about, various questions we've done on the show before.
I think that's a great idea.
Hello, Justin.
Hello.
I'd like to know, are there any Scooby-Doo gags that are actually physically possible? And this one comes from episode 116, Pizza Teeth, with Jonathan.
Yes.
Yes, that's the answer to the question.
All right, see you guys later.
Yeah, that was pretty easy.
I do hate the episode title now that I'm thinking back on it.
So I think we hated it at the time, but we also talked about Ninja Turtles eating pizza all the time, and that's where that title came from.
Oh,
Yep.
Pizza teeth. And turtles don't have teeth, though. That's off topic. Anyway.
The Ninja Turtles had teeth.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Scooby-Doo gags.
All right.
There was the other question in that.
Got a lot of guests. Got a lot of guests to get through. I don't know.
I've done a lot of thinking about this.
Sure.
First of all, I've written some notes. The first one is, I think everybody thinks about the running door gag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably the most famous Scooby-Doo gag, I think, yeah.
Yep. Well, what I just sent in the Discord is a quick drawing of what a running door gag would be like if we built one to work for real.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, I was thinking about like, did you guys ever see The Prestige?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So instead of just like creating a clone and killing everybody consistently,
right.
I figured what we would do is set up 3 doors down a hallway, but like kind of keeping in theme with magic, right? The end of the hallway, you have 2 large mirrors that are angled inward, kind of like the, where does the rabbit go trick, where they just show you the bottom of the box again, and the rabbit's behind
Right.
the mirror. And you do that at the end of the hallway so that you can't see anybody running around. And then you build a little trap door and a little mechanism. And so here I have a starting and stopping area where you run through one door, you go into the trap door B, come out A, run through another door, go to the other side, run around the mirror, come back through the other side, go back down the trap door, go to the other side and run out another door, and then back down to the end of the hallway.
Little do the listeners know, Justin is just demonstrated that he's completely qualified to stage Lend Me a Tenor.
I've been practicing all day.
I think this is so interesting because I never really stopped to consider the fact that, like, if they just enclose the back of the hallway, it makes everything so much simpler.
Yeah, they just have to run.
It's a good point that you can always see down to the end of the hallway, which I guess the door could pass outside of the hallway, but setting up the mirrors like that does make it look like the hallway continues to go on. So that's a clever addition, I think.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking too, like Haunted Mansion and Disney has that, it has that one room that's the infinite hallway that it does the same thing. It's the same trick where it just looks like the hallway goes on forever. And so you could do exactly that because it's a haunted house, right? Scooby-Doo.
Right.
Easy enough. I just wanted to make that one real because everybody knows that one. It's a great one. So here's my version of if we had to build a set so that you could do that without any camera cuts.
And this is an illustration that will be in the show notes for the episode.
Excellent. 2 of the gags that I think are super easy to do as well. My glasses. That's a gag that's in every episode. My daughter did that for Halloween one year. I put my glasses on the floor when she was a baby and took a picture of her. And then traps. Oh, traps. Fred Jones. I think it's really easy to make a trap that doesn't work. Right? They never work. I think it's really easy to be like, I want to make this really complicated Rube Goldberg trap. And it's not going to work the first time. So I think we could replicate all of those if we wanted to.
So you're saying it's really practical to be able to fail. So it's easy to... It's physically possible for us to fail at things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's basically what Scooby-Doo is.
Yeah.
It's them being like, let's do this thing. And then 5 minutes later, whatever they were doing does not work.
Yeah.
So,
They do tend to accident their way into catching the criminals.
Sometimes. I mean, yeah.
they're the best, worst detective agency.
I think arguably they do solve the crimes legitimately, but actually catching the bad guy, it's usually out of clumsiness.
Which is funny because, like, they shouldn't be catching the bad guy anyway. They're teenagers.
Well, yeah, but they're a mystery organization. You know,
Yeah.
that's what they do. You know, they
True.
go up against. I want to bring up one thing. I think this existed when we talked about this question before, but I just want to throw it in here because I have found humor in it. There's a YouTuber by the name of Chase Bridges who does a lot of true crime stuff that I'm not super familiar with, but I did see one video, and he's now done a series of them where he has a guest on and he describes the plot of an episode of Scooby-Doo as though it is a true crime story and tries to trick his guest into not realizing that it's Scooby-Doo. And he's done some adaptations of it as it's gone on because obviously people are getting wise to to the gimmick, so I don't know how much staying power it has, but it has made me chuckle.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Just like describing Scooby-Doo is like something. I mean, you see all those like Instagram posts that describe the Scooby Gang in ways that are not, these cartoon teenagers. Great. It's a good gag.
A group of teenagers went into the woods expecting to find an abandoned riverboat, but instead they found a witch and a zombie. On today's episode, we explore what happened when the witch and zombie came face to face with our 5 brave heroes.
One of my favorite Scooby-Doos is the old Return to it's Zombie Island. Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah,
Zombie Island.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
They always they kind of like turn the gag on their head because that one there's real zombies in it, right? And
also a tiger lady.
And they're all cat people. And they try to pull the one zombie's face off, and the whole head comes off. And Fred's like, "How did that happen?" Then they find out they're real. They're like, "Ah!"
Real zombies. I wanted to let Jim have the floor there because I didn't know how much further you were going to go. I feel like that was an entirely ad-libbed.
It was ad-libbed, but that was the whole extent of it. Because
I was engrossed in the lore.
I don't remember the episode well enough to actually keep going. I just remember there was a witch and a zombie, and there was the riverboat.
That's fair enough.
And I remember what they were doing. They were trying to scare everyone away because they were using a long metal pole to try to find an armored car that had sunk to the bottom of the river.
Fair enough.
On the whole, I feel like a lot of these plots aren't the worst idea. Like, they go about them in very strange ways, i.e. dressing up as a monster. But, like, they have a solid crime plan.
The early ones are a lot more grounded than the current run of Scooby-Doo, whatever the modern adaptation of Scooby-Doo is, from my experience. I don't actively watch Scooby-Doo anymore.
A lot of the earlier ones like are grounded, but they still aren't right either. So like,
well, yeah,
there's an old one that like they catch the guy and he's a ghost, and they're like, "How did you do it?" And he's like, "Well, let me show you." Like while the police are there, he's like, they're like, "You're under arrest." He's like, "Not until I show everybody how I did the ghost thing."
Yeah.
And he basically explains like how Pepper's ghost works, but there's no mirrors and glass, and like that, like the entire idea of Pepper's ghost is it reflects onto glass. It's like half of that entire actual way that you would do that actual effect. But then it's just missing an entire aspect of the effect that makes it work. And he's like, "And I can walk through a wall."
There's an episode where there's like a puppeteer and all the monsters they run into are like giant marionettes, and they go on and explain, "See, they were all on strings." And it's like, but how was he operating? And how didn't you notice any of that? Because it was dark. That's the answer. So there's where the plausibility of the Scooby-Doo gags comes into question, but it's cartoon.
One of the ones that my son really likes, first of all, Simple Plan is in it, which is awesome. When we went and saw them live, they played Scooby-Doo, and a bunch of people in Scooby-Doo onesies came up and danced on the stage because they're now the Scooby-Doo band. It's a guy in a robot snowman suit, and they melt the snowman. It's a giant like robot, and I was like, "How did he get a giant robot suit and cover it with snow?" That's the same one that my wife always complains about, because at the end, the guy's like, he stole a bunch of gold or something from the town, and he's like, "I guess I'm going to jail." and the sheriff is like, "Well, you gave the gold back, so you're okay. It's cool." And Ash is always like, "That's not how crime works." Like,
that's so funny because that was the exact sentence I was just about to say. Because it is not how crime works.
No, I love it. He's like, "I guess I'm going to jail," and they're like, "Well, no harm, no foul. You gave it all back and said sorry."
Well, so the real answer is yes, and we really didn't need to have the rest of the conversation, I guess. Justin, you hit it in one. But thank you for being here for episode 200.
God, wouldn't it be some kind of irony if all of my episodes are the longest ones, and for this one, it's literally 30 seconds long, and you're like, "Cool, bye."
I guess we could have just cut it there, yeah. You know, listeners might not know this, But every so often, we need to bring some of our panelists in for routine maintenance to make sure they're running optimally. So I was thinking now's a good time. Let's just get Big A in here, get him started up, run a diagnostics check. Big A, it's showtime!
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in episode 137, which was titled All Words Are Made Up and Don't Matter, we asked Sydney this question, and now I'm curious. So, hey, Big A, do you have an inner monologue?
That's a great question. I think I do, but I'm not 100%
You think
sure.
you do?
No.
Oh.
I mean, of course I do. I find this, I've heard this question posed a few times here and there, and the idea of people not having an inner monologue is just fascinating to me. So I'll say yes, I do. I mean, do you guys both have inner monologues?
Yeah,
I do, yeah. And I was reading, when we talked about this, and I just briefly looked it up again, that like 30 to 50% of people allegedly don't. And I feel like that seems really high because I think I've met one person in my life who said they didn't.
That's interesting. Huh.
Was it someone? I don't mean to be like, don't take this as condescending, but was it someone who was like otherwise normal in other ways? You would say.
I think it was a generally intelligent person. He's an actor, a friend of ours that seems like a normal person. Might be a robot. I don't know. The person who it is will know who it is. I don't want to name them on air, but they know who they are.
They know what they did.
They know what they did.
Yeah, I've also read, I don't know if you've seen these as well, but I've seen similar stories over the last year where I guess there's like a large number of people who they cannot mentally conceptualize like three-dimensional objects. Have you seen this as well?
Yeah. I think I had this conversation with one of our panelists, Dak, has been on the show, and he said that he thinks that is true of him.
That's interesting. I'm just like, I'm sure there's a way to explain it, but like, it almost feels like, and almost being like left-handed, right-handed, like a way that's like not incompatible, but like it just makes me wonder like how they function.
Yeah, I think it's weird. I always wonder if it's like, if being tone deaf is similar to being colorblind, like that kind of idea. Because being colorblind is actually a physical medical thing.
Right. Which is way more prevalent than you realize.
Yeah. But I feel like being tone deaf, aside from it being a condescending thing to say to somebody, like I think there are people who can't recognize certain pitch and stuff. And I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm basing that off of just my own anecdotal experience, so I don't know for sure.
I feel like being tone deaf, although, has much less of a stigma to it because people on average are not really expected to be able to sing at the drop of a hat. So if you can't carry a tune, people just don't really care that much.
They are if they're my friends.
And it's Christmas caroling time.
And we're going to wassailing.
Yeah. No one will suffer.
Yeah.
I think it's really neat though, because it just really goes to show that like everybody's brain is just a little bit different about something.
Yeah. Well, I wonder too, like, if it could be studied, like perhaps I wonder if someone who has no inner monologue, maybe they write more, or maybe they like have some other way to like express their thoughts that like is different. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that makes me think about how like I don't really take a lot of notes because I feel like it doesn't benefit me. So like that, and I probably should start taking more notes because I'm not as remembery as I used to be. Yeah. But it's like I'm a person who never really was a big note taker. And I know a lot of people that keep calendars and take notes and everything's really nicely organized. And I'm like scrawling one thing on a sticky note. And that's like the extent of what I, write down. And so it makes me wonder, are people with sort of different visualization software in their brain, I guess you could say, is that why?
Right.
I wonder about that too. I know some people have to write everything down, but they also get in a routine of checking a calendar or a scheduling book or something. And I also used to hear, because I never took notes in school because I would then never look at the notes, and people would say the act of writing it down will help you remember it. And it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't for me.
I won't say I had that experience across the board. But when it comes to things like school, I feel like when I encounter an idea, I identify I either understand it or I don't. And if I understand it, it's like, well, I don't need to write it down. If I don't understand it, it's like, okay, I need to ask a question. Versus like, yeah, that just makes more sense to me.
I think I would remember the experience of figuring it out more than I would remember the experience of writing down what somebody told me. So like if I ask somebody a question and they explained it in a way that was directed specifically to me, I'll remember that interaction between us.
Right. Well, there's also like, I guess it can be trial and error, because if you're writing notes, it's like, when I'm going to remember, say, a year from now, like, are my notes going to make sense to me? Or is it going to be just as quick to just learn it, quote unquote, again, and just do it that way?
Most of my old books from school, all my notebooks from school, if you go through them, you'll see like one key word from a biology unit and then just a bunch of doodles.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, Big A does seem to be operating at peak performance, so I think we can send you back out into the field.
Thank you.
And thanks for being here.
Appreciate having me on, and congratulations on all the shows, and wish you many more and the best of luck.
Right now, we're going to check in with Allie. Allie wears many hats here at Vaguely Scientific, which I assume is to keep her head warm. In addition to directing our cryptozoology department, she is the Vaguely Scientific Poke Gym leader and head of the Brain Slug Defense, though we aren't sure if that is defense from the brain slugs or defense of the brain slugs. Hello, Allie.
Hello, and I'll never tell.
Never tell. It's an ongoing mystery. So in episode 175, titled No Toe Stub Lad, my brother David joined us to discuss the criteria for superpowers ranked in the F tier. And now we'd like to ask you, what F tier superpower would you take?
I mean, I kind of already have one, if I'm honest. I think everyone has an F tier superpower. It's one of those little things that, like, you can do really well, but is kind of unrecognized in society. Maybe this is more of a D tier one. I can parallel park my car as long as my car can physically fit into that space. I can get it in there. And I don't know, maybe that might be a D tier and not an F tier, because it is useful. And I think one of the criteria is that it can't be useful, right?
Well, I remember we had discussed if it's not useful at all, it's in F tier, but then there's going further if it's actively harmful to you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But like I would argue that is a skill that is useful in society, so
and maybe it's
got some utility.
I was going to say, that's a solid thing to be able to do.
True. But it's not going to change anyone's life, right? Like, it's not going to it might make my day better, but it's not going to make my life better, probably, right?
I mean, yeah, it's potentially going to save you a few minutes.
Yeah.
Or it might, assuming you hadn't passed your driver's test yet, it would help you pass your driver's test.
That's true. The other one I think of a lot is the ability to stop people from hiccuping, but that's also beneficial, probably.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. I've done it over the internet, and I've done it over, like, in person, not over anything, over words. You know how you communicate with words and feelings
over
and
the
looking.
Ether.
Yeah, with auditory noises.
It's compression sound waves will get you there every time. But all I have to do is, Jim, I want you to pretend that you have hiccups for me, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Hiccup.
Jim, hey.
That's so convincing.
Yeah.
Stop it. And they will stop hiccuping, right? They might have
they have to.
Yeah. I told them to.
It was a command.
Yeah. I feel like that's a kind of dumb power, but one that I have.
But the hiccup curing power. Yeah, I think that's the weird thing about it is F tier compared to real life versus F tier compared to like other superheroes makes it kind of relatively different. Because like someone who can cure hiccups in a world of the Avengers, not that great, but in real life, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
What about the ability to summon gnats, but not under your control? Like, you don't know when it's going to happen, but it does happen.
Oh, so it's not so much like the ability to summon them. It's just that you have the magnetism of the net.
You attract them.
Yeah. And you never know when they're going to show up. Like,
is there a utility to that, though?
No.
Okay.
No, I think that's a good...
Unless you, like, own a chameleon.
It is potentially harmful. It is potentially harmful to you.
Yeah. It's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying. Yeah. Not so annoying that it, like, would actually hurt you, like, physically. So yeah, I think that could be F tier. I wanted to reference Terry Pratchett's Discworld because any opportunity I have to do that, I like to. I was thinking about this question again today, and I like the idea of Rube Goldberg magic. And it's the way that it's kind of described in the Unseen University in the Discworld is a lot of magic is so complicated to do that you might as well just do things without magic. And I like the idea that, like, you could move something from one shelf to another using telekinesis or something, but there's so much effort involved that you might as well just get up and move the thing with your hands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where there's like the spell component, the somatic and like gestures that you have to do, and it probably costs so much money for those materials that then get destroyed that just stand up and move the glass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just move it. You're just mildly impressive.
Yeah.
It's very inefficient.
It's an expensive party trick.
Yeah, it's going to make you look great, but it's not worth the time and the effort.
No.
Well, I came to that one when I was thinking, what if you had telekinesis, but only to do things you would do with eating utensils?
Oh.
So like you could like make spaghetti float up into your mouth, but only when you're eating.
Yeah.
As an Italian, I don't like that.
It's funny. As an Italian, I kind of like it.
You never have to do dishes, though. So there you go. It's too good. It's too good for F tier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And utensils in the dishwasher is one of my least favorite things to have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
What if you had to use the utensil to get it started? Like that was the component cost is you stick the fork in there to dirty it. Yeah. And then after you stick the fork in there to dirty it, then it works.
Then it works. Okay, yeah, so you have to have dirtied the dishes,
That's
mitigating any benefit. Yeah.
That's very good.
Useless magic.
Yes. I love it. Oh my gosh. Do you guys find that you have like a mundane superpower that's just kind of like you're very good at something that is probably to most people just like like you can parallel park, but like no, I can parallel park.
I don't necessarily know that it's like a superpower, but one thing that I have noticed over the years is that if somebody is having a computer problem or like a tech problem, I will come over and it will just start working. Like I won't have done anything. Or like the one thing I might do is like, I turn it off and turn it back on. And then it won't be broken anymore. And then when I leave, it starts, acting up.
That's the car mechanic's curse.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I don't know what the problem is because I can't replicate it.
If a mechanic drives your car, it will work, and there will be no sign that anything is wrong. Only as long as they are driving it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Derek?
I think I have the ability to not fall asleep against my will and even struggle to fall asleep.
With your will?
With my will. But I have, and I don't want to bank on this, but I have driven an hour commute on so little sleep that I've been genuinely worried I might pass out. And I just think through sheer willpower I've made. Now, disclaimer and public service announcement, don't do that.
Don't do that. That's very dangerous. Don't do that.
It was not a good idea for me, but yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when you asked the question. So
okay, I think we all have a little bit of F tier superpowers, is what I'm saying, or I guess D tier.
Sometimes.
One of the lower tier. We don't have like an S tier.
No. Not that I'd ever tell you.
But we do have an S-tier guest. Thank you, Allie, for revisiting this question with us, and hope to see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
So Andy's here to talk to us about a question. If a meteor is careening toward Earth, how long before it hits would we know? Also, what would we do to stop it? And we first talked about this question with Chris in episode 153, Side Effects Include.
Can I just say a really funny thing that I was reminded of whenever I listened to 153 to prepare myself for this?
Sure.
That was the episode where there was a tornado warning that interrupted our recording.
Sure. Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Unrelated to the question, I just love that there was a tornado warning and we had to stop.
Yeah, I like that was something terrestrial also.
Yeah. Well, since Andy is here, why don't we give you the floor first and foremost? I want to hear.
I got
what
the
you
floor.
Think. You have
the floor here. All right, listen. All right, we got a meteor coming straight for Earth. We're all gonna die unless we can stop it. How we would handle the meteor would really depend on how long we have till it hits us. You know, if we have a year to prepare, we're gonna be like, let's get set and knock this thing out of here.
We got all the time in the world, man.
Yeah, and then you have like a couple months. You're like, all right, we can maybe figure this out. And then a week, we're like, well, say goodbye to your loved ones. We're all gonna die.
We shouldn't have procrastinated.
Shouldn't have put that one off. We have time.
But let's say we have a month, and we got to go all Bruce Willis on this thing, right?
Sure.
You know,
I'm glad you said that.
Armageddon.
Crazy, yeah. And you go up to the asteroid and stop and bury a nuclear device inside it and blow it up. But then you have a shotgun of meteorites flying at you. How big is the thing? That's also important. Are we going to say it's the size of Texas, just like Bruce Willis, or are we going to say it's the size of the moon?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Let's say
no
it's
moon,
the size
then.
of the moon.
Now, I would argue if it's the size of the moon, then it's no longer an asteroid. It's a moon.
Whoa.
Are there no meteorites the size of the moon?
Oh, I don't know. I would just argue that, whether it's correct or not.
I think a moon has to orbit a planet, though. So
yeah, you're right.
If it's going to careen toward the planet, it's probably not a moon.
How about this? Rogue dwarf planet.
Rogue dwarf. That sounds like a movie.
That would be a good band name, too.
Pluto-sized meteor.
Ooh.
I just did finger things because Pluto's not really a planet. So Pluto's rocketing towards the Earth.
Pluto.
And we got to stop it.
You don't have to put air quotes around Pluto. It still exists.
Well, I'm putting air quotes around it. So
Okay.
Pluto, guys.
Allegedly Pluto.
Allegedly Pluto.
Yeah, so allegedly Pluto is rocketing towards the Earth, and it's now our new meteorite planet killer, and we have to stop it. So what do we do? You know, there's so many ideas I came up for this. You know, the easy one is to blow it up, but that's your shotgun. It's going to just create more problems.
Oh, yeah.
Smaller meteorites that just destroy more towns and less planets. So
I have always heard that's the worst possible thing you can do.
Huh.
About asteroids?
About blowing them up, just like Andy said. Like, it creates way more problems. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So can't we play some planet-size billiard ball type thing? Like we're playing pool here. And we make something else. And
third rock scene transitions.
We poke it. We poke our rocket, which is basically a giant cue ball, at the meteor, you know, and we hit it. And so it goes off course and flies into another hole, assuming that we're looking at the Earth as a hole. And we got to get it to go into a different hole so we don't lose the game.
Are you suggesting Earth is this cue ball, or we have a different...
No.
Okay.
That's the solution to stopping the asteroid, is instead of the asteroid hitting Earth, you throw Earth at the asteroid.
That's what I thought you were suggesting.
No. The Earth is the 8 ball. The planet is the 3 ball, and we need to make our own billiard ball to shoot at the meteor and knock it off course and send it careening elsewhere.
I support.
You're welcome, planet.
You're
welcome. You've all been saved.
And like Derek said, third rock from the sun.
Yep.
Yeah. We basically are just billiard balls floating in space.
Yeah. To revisit the idea of the shotgun scatter shot idea, I have a solution to that. instead of blowing up the meteor, I was watching various samurai in various anime programs. And I notice a trend is a lot of times there will be a ninja thing where if somebody's shooting at you, the ninjas have the ability to just draw a sword and cut the bullets in half.
I knew you were going to say that.
So they'll go in two different directions. So what I think is we give Earth a giant sword and teach it to deflect meteors with a sword.
All right, so now Jim's response is going to be, okay, so we need a Gundam.
Well,
I wasn't going to go there.
Okay, now I have 3 different things I want to say.
Go ahead, Jim. It's all you at this point.
I'll start with the first thing I was going to say, and that is that, like, that guy from Lupin the Third, Goemon, he could cut the thing in half without any help. Like, he could just do it.
That's
like, that would be no problem. The second thing I want to say now is we should get a Gundam.
Sure.
Because Andy's right. We should just do that, regardless if there's meteors or not.
A Gurren Lagann robot.
Yeah.
Well, so what that made me think of, actually, though, is the third thing I was going to say, which is there was a show called Space Runaway Ideon. It was actually by the same guy who did Mobile Suit Gundam, Yoshiyuki Tomino. And Ideon is more of what you would call like a super robot.
Okay.
And there's this episode where I don't exactly know what happens because I never watched the series. I only watched the 2 like recap movies. But I know there's an episode in the series where Ideon cuts a planet in half. So we just need Ideon, and we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, is Ideon some type of human?
No, it's like a giant robot, but it's like bigger than a Gundam.
Yeah, so we need a Gundam, an Ideon, or a Gurren Lagann. And
what I was picturing
Gurren
was
Lagann absolutely could do it.
I was picturing like the Unicron idea of like the planet being a transformer, but that's just Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, which I guess in the Michael Bay universe, that is Earth is Unicron. I think they said that.
What?
In the Michael Bay universe, Earth is Unicron.
I never saw that part.
I watched the first one years ago and never again.
I have no questions because I don't want to know.
Yeah. I like it. Well, there you go, Planet Earth. You're welcome. We saved you.
Yeah,
if you have any other questions or an actual meteorite comes towards us, you know who to call.
Yeah. Last thing I want to mention is listeners, go Google the NASA DART. And that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun for everybody.
It's so crazy. You'll reload the page 80 times. I've been sitting here doing it the whole time we were sitting here talking. I just keep reloading the webpage.
It's good inspiration.
Yeah, if you hear, you can hear my mouse clicking over and over as I reload the page.
And to be fair, the NASA DART mission is basically what Andy suggested, which is cosmic billiards.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So Andy's right there with it, I'm telling you.
Thanks for revisiting and celebrating our 200th episode with us.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Excellent.
All right, who do we have next? Every year, around the end of October, we consistently find ourselves in a strange, otherworldly haunted place called Zombie Town. Our first documented trip there, which was before we really even knew what it was, not that we do now, was back in our 4th episode called Vaguely Spooky. We went there with Big A and also David before we discovered his supernatural alternate identity of Spooky Dave. And one of the things we talked about on that episode was, what is the maximum radius a ghost can travel to haunt a particular place? And you know, we're not in Zombie Town at the moment, but there's one person here in our stable who certainly comes to mind when we talk about anything ghostly and macabre. It's Anne!
I loved that as my reputation.
Yay!
So this question immediately brought to mind a specific show I watch. It is just called Ghosts. There are versions of it, but I'm specifically talking about the BBC British version. There's an American spinoff. It's garbage. We're talking about the good one. But that show deals with ghost rules, quote unquote, quite a lot. And while the running joke, it's a comedy sitcom, is that the ghost rules don't make sense, one thing that they do kind of establish is that ghosts haunting a place do have a finite range. And if they try to go beyond the range, in this case, it's a haunted house and some grounds around it. If they try to go beyond that range, like at the gate, they will just blip out and then respawn immediately back inside. So no matter how much you try, you will try to go through and then you'll immediately end up back where you started. But a thing that show made me kind of start thinking about is it's not addressed there, but it does sort of imply that each ghost has maybe a slightly different range, because it deals with ghosts that go everywhere from they have like a prehistoric caveman all the way up to a politician that died in the 90s. And they die at different places. So like the caveman died before there was a house. And so he died somewhere on the grounds versus a guy who died outside near a tree, a guy who died in the living room. So it is kind of implied that maybe the person who died outside would have like 12 feet further than the guy who died in the living room, which I think is an interesting concept, that it's very mathematic and finite, and you cannot go beyond where your death spot was.
Oh.
Yeah, what that show also kind of got me thinking about is there's a rule that they say a lot is you stay how you die, meaning all of the ghosts that we see, in whatever state they died in, they kind of stay that way, right? So we had a Tudor nobleman who is decapitated, right? We have someone who has been shot and he still has the bullet wound, things like that. And that will be relevant later.
Okay, I'm excited.
This is where we're going to buckle up for the existential horror. There is a brief moment in that show where the people who have got this haunted house are getting fed up and they're like, you know what? Whatever, we're going to go find somewhere else. We're going to go house hunting. And the wife can see and interact with ghosts, so wherever she goes, she keeps encountering ones and, comedy ensues. But there is a brief throwaway moment where she's in a, high-rise penthouse apartment and is thinking, wow, it's new, it's fine, there can't possibly be anyone up there. And they look out the window and they see two German bomber pilots. Again, this is set in England. So the implication is these two died during the Battle of Britain. And they are just floating in midair. They are sitting next to each other on nothing, theoretically, where a plane maybe exploded based on the kind of sooty appearance they have. But they're just hovering in the air.
The pilots are.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fun.
That's an interesting concept, that theoretically they can just travel. They don't need floors or even a tangible plane anymore. They just kind of hover exactly where they died. So theoretically, they could maybe walk up or down, but they can't quite make it to the ground. And I think that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I know we talked about back in an episode with Brian on it, when we talked about, can ghosts ride on elevators? We talked about if they're not bound to Earth and Earth has moved in space, perhaps there's just like a comet trail of ghosts that are all of the population of Earth through history.
I mean, it kind of, at least this concept kind of implies it. So it's like, it's a fun little joke of like, oh, these two guys are just stuck hovering in midair and by themselves, right? Because nobody else died in the immediate vicinity.
Yeah.
Now let's get horrific.
Oh,
so thinking about these rules that you have a finite range, and particularly, let's follow this mental path of wartime deaths. So we have planes that have been shot out of the air, but if you died during the initial impact, you stay in midair. So let's think about submarines for a second.
Oh.
Yeah. Or shipwrecks. or the horrific deaths of submariners. So if you have a finite range, it implies that if you die, for example, on a submarine that has sunk to crush depth, your ghost can never surface again.
Depressing.
Well, we were promised existential horror, and
True.
It's been delivered.
You agreed.
So I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah, so anyone who went down with anything that where the death itself happened below the water, you're trapped there. Can ghosts communicate with each other? Like, hey, I went down in a submarine, but at least I had my other crew with me, so we can have these underwater chats, maybe? Well, maybe, but let's think about it, because in the world of this show, at least, you stay how you die. We have ghosts that are dying from pressure, from lungs filling with water, which means they can't communicate either. They're in a perpetual state of drowning, stuck under the water.
That idea.
I just feel bad for those ghosts.
I gotta say, you have told me about this show before.
I want to be clear, this is not in the show. This is a lighthearted comedy, haha show. But it implies some horrific things that my brain can't help thinking about.
Yeah, right.
It leaves questions open. That's fair. You have told me about this show before, and I am mad at myself because I forgot about it until now, and I'm like, I meant to watch that.
I mean, you should. Everyone should. It's a good show, but...
Okay, yeah, well, maybe I will if I remember after we're done recording here. But that idea of... It's been pitched to me before in various philosophical conversations that, like, what if after you die, you just experience the last moments of your death for the rest of eternity? And that is truly one of the most horrific ideas to me, especially if you drown or something like that. And it seems like this show goes with that idea. And I agree, that is a terrifying thought.
Well, the show goes with that idea to an extent. Like, the ghosts have agency. They're not like residual hauntings where it's like just reliving the exact same moments, but their physical state stays how they die, right?
Yeah.
So, like, the guy that has been decapitated, like, his body just wanders around and his head is just there like, well, this is a good time. And occasionally, if someone, like, reunites them, he can, like, have agency and move around, but otherwise it's just like, oh, well, but it's been, several hundred years and he's kind of accepted it. People who have died painfully, like, they probably, again, within the rules of the show that is never addressed, like, they're probably still feeling it, but it's been long enough that they've kind of learned to move past it. Almost kind of like people do with chronic illnesses, right? Like, in the sense of, like, I'm always in pain, and so now it's normal. But I think
that makes sense.
The reason the underwater is horrific to me is no matter what you're in, if you're on land and other ghosts like have ended up in your area, you can at least have like some communication and companionship. But if your lungs are filled with water, can you ever truly talk or communicate?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be upsetting.
I wonder if there's like a, since you're a ghost, maybe since you don't have to like breathe, that you can still, but then how are you vibrating the air if you can't touch the air? I don't know.
You're applying too many physics to the ethereal realm, Jim.
Yeah, that is exactly the problem that I have every time we come up with this.
That's true. We're talking about time travel and the fact that the Earth has moved. There's a lot. That's why we do this show, right? Vaguely scientific. We explore all the nitty-gritty, pedantic things that most people are supposed to ignore.
Yeah.
And probably we should too.
So this isn't directly related to the show, but a thing that I also thought about is on your Halloween episode, I think it was Dave brought up the point that he proposed that ghosts can only exist when humans are around to perceive them. And the thought of this was a spinoff of the thought because there's like a caveman ghost in this show, right? But it got me thinking that we don't really have ghost stories about prehistory figures in real life. If you think about the true ghost stories you hear about, there is kind of a cutoff. We don't really hear about Neanderthal ghosts.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I would like to talk about a little bit, when we talk about the range they can exist in, the range in time.
Whoa.
And suggest that because we don't have Neanderthal ghosts, or, creatures like Homo erectus, Homo habilis, these species that we know existed because we have evidence of them in prehistory, but we do not have a concept of. Not really.
Yeah.
We cannot truly picture what a Homo habilis person would look like, or how they would sound, or how they would move. We have speculation, we have reconstruction, we don't know, though. And so I would like to propose that ghosts can only manifest where there's people. Addendum, they can only manifest when there's people who have a concept of them and can perceive them.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. There are a lot of folklore stories that deal with the idea that, like, it is the living's memory of you that keeps your spirit alive. And that's not exactly what you said, but that's what it made me think of. And I do like that idea.
Well, that is where I'm going with it. Because we think about, if you look at source materials, we have stories from like ancient Greece of ghost stories, right? The ancient Greeks believed they could, they had encountered and seen ghosts. But again, when was the last time we, in our modern time, have heard a story of seeing an ancient Greek ghost? So I think there is like, there's almost like a cutoff that if we go too far back, the ghosts expire.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, because usually when it's a contemporary ghost story, it's something that is relatable, that you could understand why it is scary. And that's why the stories are told that way. If you go back to like the Headless Horseman, that was a reference to a Hessian soldier during the Revolutionary War, which would be something that most of those people either lived through or their immediate family lived through. Mm-hmm. Fascinating. Well, I don't know if any of us have any ghosts in our basement. If you do, I don't want to know about it. I do kind of want to know why. But thank you, Anne, for being here.
You're welcome.
Way, way back in episode 13, Dinosaurs in Black, Addison helped us ponder, if the Men in Black were real, what technology that we have today most likely came from aliens? And we're going to add to that... And we're going to add to that conversation now with Ryan. Come on in, Ryan.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like this. It fits the Rai the sci-fi guy.
Rai the sci-fi guy.
This episode is all about callbacks, so I'm happy to do that.
I need that to be on a shirt that you guys are selling in your amazing store.
Rai the sci-fi guy?
Rai the sci-fi guy.
How didn't we do that yet? Okay.
Yeah, it would appeal to both of my fans who are both on this recording right now.
I like it. I don't know. I'm in favor. So, the first note I had going back and listening to episode 13, which I forgotten existed, we actually did mention the one thought I had very briefly, but I wanted to kind of shed more light on it. What I wanted to put out there was that the idea that if MIB were a real organization, a lot of the technology they had would very likely be technology that isn't available to the general public, but may come out like 5 to 10 years from now.
Mm-hmm. So when this episode airs, maybe we'll find out what it was.
Yeah, maybe. That's fair.
So I was thinking, there's one thing that I've never. It's like I can wrap my mind around the science pretty easily, but I also just can't accept it, and that's vinyl records or wax cylinders or old timey records, because it's so simple. It's almost too simple for my mind. Where so basically, like, you've got the needle and it scratches along the groove and it makes a sound, and like the groove, if you look at it under like a microscope, the groove is just like the waveform or the sound wave. So all the needle's doing is dragging along and just kind of going up and down a few whatevers. But like, I cannot accept that that's not magic because it
is magic. I think.
Yeah, so, like if we were recording right now or actually even human voices are pretty simple. Like, you get entire symphonies and layers, like you're telling me that this little scritchy scratch back and forth is the sound of like a 200-piece orchestra. Like it.
Yeah.
I just feel like the needle can only go back and forth in so many ways.
Right. And I always think it's so fascinating because it's such a teeny tiny, like, you can't even see the grooves with your, like, you can see the grooves, but you can't see like the waveform with your eyes. Right. And for that teeny little wiggle on the needle to be somehow amplified up to fill a room, I think it's just amazing.
And same, like, similarly, like, speakers in general, like when you actually have like electric speakers, like the simplest thing is it basically has like a diaphragm or whatever, and it's similar to your ear, and it's just like your eardrum going kind of back and forth. Mm-hmm. But to me, I'm like, but back and forth is only two directions, so how do you like? I don't know. It just, and for some reason, this has always been like the analog aspect of like the grooves, and just it's just needle scratching some grooves and like a cone, and you've got any sound you can any sound you can like record, and somehow my mind I'm like, oh yeah, lasers and computers and ones and zeros, like sure, easy. Like that doesn't mystify me, that just makes sense.
Right.
But even this like simple piece of technology, I'm like, there's no way this works, has to be alien.
Well, it's fascinating because we also have voice replication technology, which is literally taking a waveform based on nothing, and a computer can now put it together and make it sound like a human voice. And I'm a big fan of old-timey radio shows, like radio dramas and like superhero pulp adventures. And the thing that I think is weird about those is all the sound that you're hearing is from one waveform. And yet you can hear multiple voices and sound effects and even locational kind of sounds. Like you can hear that something is meant to be further away, but it's coming from the same speaker at the same time that Superman is talking. So
like Superman will be talking while like laser effects are going off. So you got somebody probably in the background hitting like a saw and going, wah, 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 and like you've got people clapping wood together to make different noises, and all of it is happening with a very specific way that the needle just goes back and forth just a little bit. And I'm like, how does the scritchy scratch in this direction make like 10 different identifiable sounds in different parts of the room?
It's the overlap that's wild.
It's unbelievable to me. Yeah. I think I could like understand it better if it was like, oh yeah, if you scratch this thing back and forth, it makes a noise and it goes woo 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 woo, or like just one like simple thing. But the fact that like if we were recording on like a wax cylinder right now, you would hear all three of our distinct voices. I don't know. It's magic to me, and I won't be convinced otherwise.
No, it's totally fair. I love how I think this happened in episode 13 as well. We spent a lot of time talking about ancient technology because just the foundation of simple technology is so bizarre. Like once we have that, we as humanity have built on it. But how did we figure it out in the first place? It must have been from aliens.
Yeah. There's some point where, to me, it's like post-digital. Like once the computers sort of started coming around, I'm like, well, the answer is simple. A computer did it.
Yeah.
AI is so huge nowadays. And even in the past couple years, for better or worse, they've made all kinds of crazy things that we couldn't do just like a year ago, which, if you think back several decades, like this would be like a earth change. Well, it is earth changing, but
yeah,
it would be like this. It's almost like we would never stop talking about it. But now that it's here and it's, all digital stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, some programmer figured out how to get just the right ones and zeros in the right spot. And that happens every day, all the time. But
it's
like
passe now.
It's almost like there are certain elements of like digital technology that like I just know that I'm not going to be able to really wrap my mind around. Like I'm not going to truly be able to wrap my mind around how like the ones and zeros are sent via electric signals and it tells computers where to put each pixel and blah 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 blah. Right. So I kind of just accept it, but my mind tells me that I can understand scratching on some wax. Like that seems to be in my wheelhouse as a human.
Yep.
And yet I look at it and I'm like, there's no way what I am seeing is happening. Like there's no way that this could be doing what it's doing. And like the headphones I have on right now, it breaks it down to like there's just a really thin diaphragm that's just kind of going back and forth as the air sound waves hit it. And I'm like, how is it going back and forth in such a way that I know when like Jim's talking?
Yeah. Maybe sound was made by aliens.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Possibly. That's the answer right there. Well, unfortunately, as hard as it might be, we are going to have to accept it. And I think we're going to have to accept that submission to the episode. So thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Congratulations
Absolutely.
on this milestone.
All right, we'll see you next time. I remember in episode 48, which was titled Magic is Just Science for Nerds, we talked with Justin about magic because we are a bunch of nerds. Oh, hold on one second. Someone else just popped in. Let's see who it is. Oh, it's Jonathan. Hey, what a coincidence. We were just about to reminisce about a really nerdy conversation we had. Would you like to join us?
Obviously, yes, I would. I have a lot of nerdy comments about this.
Hooray. So the question from that episode was, which magic systems make the most sense scientifically?
So, as someone who has a science degree as well and loves fantasy books, one of my biggest fantasy magic systems that really caught my attention was Brandon Sanderson's Allomancy and Ferukami and Hemalurgy. So he has a lot of other...
Gesundheit.
Sanderson has a lot of other magic systems on different worlds, but I feel like Allomancy, Ferukami, and Hemalurgy are really interwoven and lend themselves to like a science kind of leaning. So the gist of the magic systems are that you can ingest metal and get powers out of it. That's Allomancy. For Ferukami, you can store different physical or mental or even other attributes into a piece of metal, wear it, and then access that at a later date. Hemalurgy, you are able to steal other people's powers between Allomancy or Ferukami and give them to yourselves by inserting a spike into the person you want to steal the power from, and then putting that spike into yourself. What else really caught my attention with it is that it's kind of like this equivalent exchange sort of thing, to go back to like old science, if you will. Allomancy is like a N positive. You get more out of what you put in. So you burn this little piece of, let's take tin, for example. You burn this little piece of tin, and by burn, I mean metabolize it. You drink the piece of metal or eat it, little flakes of it, and you can metabolize it, and you will get an ability out of it. And for tin's example, you get heightened senses. So you can hear better, you can see better, your sense of smells better, your touch is way heightened, and you get all these extra powers out of not having to do anything extra other than burn this piece of metal. I think Ferukami is still tin, because they're all kind of interwoven as well, like I said. For Allomancy, the complement to tin is pewter. So tin, you like pull on your senses, and pewter, you like push on your physical abilities. There's like, not only is there physical, but there's like internal and external. So like tin is a internal physical, pewter is a external physical.
So I think, Jonathan, you were going to explain Ferukami?
Yeah, so Allomancy, you can burn the metal.
Which sounds vaguely dirty. I don't know.
To me, it sounds like a Willy Wonka character.
I've always said, okay. I've always said Ferukami. I have always said Ferukami, but it's technically Ferukami because it's like iron chemistry sort of thing.
Ferrous.
Oh,
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So Ferukami, see, now I'm confusing myself.
Whatever you want to call it. Iron magic.
The Ferukami, you are able to store abilities. So with Allomancy, you can enhance your senses with tin. With Ferukami, you have to put your own senses. So you walk around with dulled senses while adding your attribute into a metal mind. And then later on, you can access that attribute that you've stored for 2 times senses, 3 times senses, 4 times senses. So it is very much like equivalent exchange, that whatever you put in, say you put 20 minutes in, you can have 10 minutes at twice the hearing or twice the ability.
Mm-hmm.
It all very much reminds me of, I know we mentioned Full Metal Alchemist in the original episode that we recorded this in, and I know we talked about Mistborn a little bit.
Yeah.
The one thing that I wanted to say that because I went back and listened to what we talked about, and like I do with many questions, is I spent the entire time just deconstructing the question. And I remember my sticking point was, what does scientific mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it mean to make sense scientifically? And I think an avenue we didn't explore back then was, what if people mean plausible when they say scientifically, which I would disagree with the definition, but that made me think of, I apologize to derail from this, but that made me think of kind of in the early 50s, in like the atomic era sci-fi movies and pulp magazines, there was a big shift from magic in fiction and like adventure fiction stuff to vaguely scientific things. There's the plug. Things like aliens and atomic power being able to do a lot of different things. And that kind of made me think of, there's a lot of treatment of zombies and modern day vampires where Anne Rice did this. You take vampires and you get rid of the things that are superstitious about them. So like they can look at crucifixes and it doesn't hurt them, but sunlight still hurts them. And in a modern audience, people say that's a more realistic look at vampires, but it's not really. It's just differently explained.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of made me think of the X-Men are essentially another way of scientifically, quote unquote, scientifically explaining magic by just saying they have genetic mutations.
I was going to actually go that route too, because
really?
I've spent too much time on the X-Men wiki pages and whatnot, and like Gambit's kinetic manipulation and like how they actually scientifically explain their powers is kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah. And so I think like that is all still magic, and it's a more science fiction angle or aesthetic, I suppose. But does that make it actually more scientific magic? I don't know. I remember getting hung up on this before.
Well, I think it's one of those things that could just be like a semantic argument, really. But like, I get where you're coming from with it, because, and I think ultimately we ended up just kind of discussing both. So,
yeah.
But I think it's really interesting to hear about things that to me sound like they are based on alchemy, because because alchemy really is just the precursor to chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
We spent so much time trying to figure out alchemy that we accidentally discovered chemistry.
Yeah. Well, this Mistborn thing, it reminds me of like sympathy, and the properties of the metals have different metatextual things, or metaphysical properties, I suppose.
Right. And that's kind of why I really like that, just because it's kind of like a look at a world where, what if alchemy was actually the correct answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, and not like
we'd all be rich.
Yeah.
And the market would be flooded.
Yes.
But not like a one-to-one actual real world alchemy that people believed in, but something that is sort of akin to that, I suppose. But I wouldn't hate being rich from pretend gold that was made.
Right. The only other thing I'll bounce off what Derek said as well that made me remember one of Arthur C. Clarke's laws. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So there's always that route too, when you want to talk about what is scientifically accurate
Listeners,
magic.
That doesn't count on your bingo sheet because Jim didn't say it.
Well, yeah.
Not yet, anyway.
I mean, I can if you really want the bingo sheet to.
Well,
I think it's an interesting idea, though, just because, if you boil alchemy down enough and it turns into chemistry, maybe you could do the same thing with some of the magic systems that you've talked about.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, thank you, Jonathan, for coming back and celebrating 200 episodes with us. We'll see you in a future episode.
Yeah.
And I hope you have a good day.
Thank you. It's always fun. I hope here's to 200 more.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, what a commitment.
Man, we'd be
strong.
pushing, 16 years at that
would
point.
Be 16 years.
Yeah.
I'm for it. Let's go. There are podcasters that have done it longer than that.
I want to share a little behind-the-scenes information for some of our listeners who might not know this, and Jim might remember this, but when Jim and I started this show, it was shortly after the two of us, along with our friend Big A, had applied to a job together that we didn't actually expect to get. So in the middle of recording the first few episodes, we found out that all three of us were hired. So when we were called up to the North Pole to help load Santa's sleigh, wouldn't you know it, Santa is such a great boss that he let us take time off to record episode 8, 2 Snowmen, a Santa, and a Pizza Place, in which we asked, how does Santa get to every house in one night? And I wanted to share that because, well, that's the question Sierra is here to discuss with us now. Hello, Sierra.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Good. How about you?
Good. Well, I will confess I did not listen to that episode, but now I'm going to immediately after this because I want to hear what he had to say. But I am a really big fan of Christmas movies, and they all have different theories, you know?
I thought you were going to say just a really big fan of Santa.
That too.
Well, I have that covered. I say that every year.
Yeah, right. Big fan of Santa. I'm a really big fan of Christmas movies. Every year there's like 5 or 6 Christmas movies that I kind of rotate through, and it drives my husband bonkers because he hates watching a movie multiple times, and that's like all that I do during the holiday season. But they have different, theories. My favorite is just that he's really fast.
It's just the simple brute force explanation.
Exactly. He's just really fast, maybe uses the time zones to help him out and kind of just squeezes down a normal chimney. You've also seen like in the Santa Claus, the first one.
The Tim Allen one.
Yeah. Yes. Tim Allen. And so that's the one where they kind of talk about like quantum mechanics and like how they're like speeding time up and down and like time bending. And then also like making the chimneys bigger using Christmas magic.
That stuck with me, the idea that the little furnace turns into a big fireplace in the one house.
Yeah, it's cool for like kids that live in New York City and they're like, wait a minute, I don't have a chimney.
I like that. I think the kid asks the question, or one of the kids in school asks the question earlier in the movie, what about kids who don't have fireplaces? And then like it actually answers that in the movie, which I liked.
Yeah, and I think with the stepdad or somebody was questioning him about like, how does everybody, how does he get to everybody in one night? And the kid like brings up like something with like speeding up time. He's such a smart kid.
That makes sense to me. I remember we talked about of course Jim floated the suspicion that Santa is a Time Lord because it's Jim, right?
Yeah, I have to do that at least once a year.
Once a year. But we talked a lot about the idea of Santa or the North Pole existing like outside of time, and he can enter time whenever he wants to. And then of course we talked about the sleigh moving at light speed, and so time would slow down for him.
Yeah, exactly.
That really kind of is the same answer as he's just really fast, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I watched a more, I guess, adult version is the David Harbour Violent Night movie. I watched that the other day, and I was just thinking about that. It doesn't really address how he gets everywhere in one night. But I like the more realistic approach of that he is just really fast and that makes him so tired and like just burnt out that then the effects of this movie happen.
I know the one that I bring up, I think, every year is the Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell.
Oh, yeah.
I just really liked that Santa.
I don't know that I've seen that one.
Oh, it's good. He sings a song in it, like the rhythm and blues song. It's good. I recommend that movie. Not the sequel, but the first one.
I always think it's so funny thinking about this question because a lot of the Christmas movies that I really enjoy don't actually address this question at all. They're just like, oh, he gets there. It's not part of the plot.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's something you assume happens in whatever way it happens.
I saw something recently this past Christmas season that was somebody had posted something like, do you ever notice that in the movies where Santa is delivering to a house, you always see him land in one house, deliver the presents, and then fly away and not go just to the next door neighbor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if that is true across the board. I feel like I have seen Santa go from house to house in some fashion before.
You definitely see the Grinch go from house to house.
Yeah.
That might be what I'm thinking. And he was dressed as Santa, so that confused me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, the little dog couldn't fly like a reindeer anyway, so, I mean...
That's true.
He could really only get, from house to house.
I just always figure that we pick up with the last one he did on the block, and then that's how movies work, right?
Yeah, the movie would be boring if you were seeing every single house.
But yeah, we don't want to watch the UPS Christmas movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it really would be like that, because it'd be like start, stop, all the way up the road.
Yeah. And then he has a little scene in every house.
Yeah, right. I'd like to think he's using, like, teleportation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I mean, what it ultimately boiled down to every time this question comes up is, like, the way that it actually works is up for debate, but Santa has Christmas magic, and that's how he can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess even if you're using, like, wormholes or quantum mechanics or something like that, it can also just boil down to Christmas magic.
Yeah. Santa can do whatever he wants.
Exactly.
Quit asking questions.
Yeah. Look, if Santa can't do it, then you're not getting presents. And if you ask too many questions, he's going to put you on the naughty list.
That's what my parents would have said. Don't ask too many questions.
Listen, little Sierra, you're thinking too hard about this. He's just a magic guy with a beard and a coat and a sleigh and a reindeer.
Yeah. And to get back at me, my son is going to ask a billion questions about it.
Well, you reap what you sow, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, speaking of asking too many questions, I think we have several more questions we have to get to for our 200th episode. So thank you, Sierra, for coming and talking about this one.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, I actually want to take a moment before we move on to our next guest to visit another topic we discussed in that same episode. One of the other questions from episode 8 was, if you took the hat off of Frosty the Snowman and put it onto a different snowman, would it transfer the consciousness to the new snowman, or would it be a new being? And, well, the reason I bring that up is because I stumbled across this old magical top hat we had in storage since 2018, and I wanted to see what would happen if I put it on this snowman I just made. See, Jim, I made a snowman. His name is Jeremiah. Hello, Jeremiah.
That is not true. I am a living human man.
Yeah, so what do you think about the magical top hat?
Well, the thing that I find interesting is it's less has to do with the idea that we're putting magical objects on stationary creature-shaped things. It's the fact that people that are living like the magician himself, that magic is not affecting him, and it's not affecting the rabbit that he had that was also within that hat.
Oh, yeah.
We have the fact that when you rebuild Frosty, like in The Return of Frosty the Snowman, and then also there's a lot of different movies, including the horror Jack Frost series, where if you rebuild the vessel, the body itself, and then put the hat on it, it will basically bring that same consciousness back to life. So I think the real question is, what kind of magic is behind that particular magic that is making these things alive? And if it is straight up witchcraft, the fact that witchcraft thrives on the magic being based on intention, do you have to build the snowman with the intention of this same guy has to come back? Or if I build a snowman and put the same top hat on it and say, nah, but I want this to be someone else, will that be a different result?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's the Mary Shelley sort of approach of you're using pre-existing material, but you're getting a new being, a new consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It's the snowman of Theseus.
Yeah, the snowman of Theseus. We could build a sculpture of Theseus out of snow, probably.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure,
probably.
yeah.
There's no proof that the Colossus of Rhodes wasn't made of snow, and that's why it fell over.
I don't necessarily agree with that take, but
I feel like there's evidence.
You weren't there.
Maybe not proof, but
I'm just saying you weren't there. You don't know.
That's true. I can't argue with that logic because there wasn't any
history or lineage, so you haven't had that secret passed down to you.
Yeah, true.
What are we in Assassin's Creed now?
Yeah.
I think it's also fun to compare snowmen to Frankenstein's monster because, I mean, honestly, that's kind of what this question is saying, I suppose.
Yeah, actually not a bad point.
Instead of making people out of mud, they were made out of snow, and that's Prometheus, right?
But if you put the consciousness on several different snowmen and then pull the hat off, make them unconscious, rip the limbs or the different balls that made up said snowman, and put them together and put the hat on without the witchcraft intention, who comes out the other side? Like, what are we talking here? Is this a Frankenstein, like you said, or...
Right.
Yeah.
I want to know how much you can augment the existing Frosty the Snowman, because you could theoretically give him bigger limbs and add more snow to him as long as the hat is on him, right?
Yeah, pack on some fresh snow and, give him big beefy Trogdor arms and...
Well, in the documentary Jack Frost, the other one where it was Michael Keaton's or someone who looked a lot like Michael Keaton, he started melting and then they had to add snow to him to kind of build him back up. So if you're able to
that makes sense.
Use snow to replenish the size, I can't imagine why we couldn't just make a real thick snowman.
That's how you really beat the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is Giant Frosty.
Yeah. Stay puffed. Get buffed.
I don't have to worry about them sponsoring us because that's not a real brand.
The other fun thing that you could do with your snowman is add legs to it.
Yeah.
Like real actual legs.
A lot.
But in the Frosty cartoon, that's the thing. They did build legs onto him, which is an absurd choice. If you don't, then you're just stuck with this living. Is that comfortable to be just dragging the bottom of your body around?
Well, that's how Sam the Snowman and Rudolph walked around. You just kind of glided across the top of the snow.
Yeah. He had the snow walk feature, though, which is not every snowman has that, I think.
Well, they should think about it.
Yeah. In Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, this was another situation where he and his wife and his children, which make me assume that it doesn't matter if it's a hat, it can just be a cursed piece of clothing. They all had legs as well because they were magically augmented to never melt. In that situation, you would have to pack on snow legs because you can't just be bumbling around in the mud.
I mean, that makes sense. I don't know if them never melting is a curse, though. I feel like that's a beneficial thing.
No, I think I'd like to melt and die at some point. I mean, no, I'm a human man. I'm a real man.
Well, I guess we've had our fun. Let's take this hat and put it back in storage.
No, please, I need this.
Well, that's how it is.
I don't know if you remember this, Jim. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure you do. But for the facade of this episode, I don't know if you remember this, Jim. Way back before we ever set up shop in our secret moon laboratory, way back before we traveled in time to the 16th century, and even before extraterrestrial conquerors stole our likenesses and turned some of our guests into wiener dogs. In fact, the very first question we ever answered in our magical horse-drawn pilot was, if magic existed in medieval times, would we have ever invented guns? And you know what?
That's some great kayfabe you're keeping there.
Right? That's, if I do one thing on this show, that's it. And you know what, though? we didn't actually have a guest on that episode, so I was hold on, wait a second. Hey, Chris, you busy?
What? Yeah, hey, what's up?
Come talk about magic guns with us.
Magic guns? Oh.
Magic guns.
Oh, magic guns.
Or rather, if we would have invented guns.
Okay, yeah. It's from episode 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I listened to the episode a while back because I was going through the archives, and there was one thing you guys didn't talk about that I think is kind of important.
Oh, I want to know if it's the thing that I think.
Magic has limitations. Because every magic system that I've seen, there's some sort of limitation, like it can't do everything. Your D&D magic has like spell slots, and you can only use so many spell slots a day. Your JRPGs, your Final Fantasies, that sort of thing. You have magic points, and you need to occasionally chug very, very expensive ethers in order to replenish them. So, kind of what I'm getting at is, would guns have been invented with magic? I think yes, because it would be to get around the limitations of magic. Only so many people can use magic. D&D, it either takes training, or you're born with it, so you kind of have luck, or you sell your soul to some interdimensional demon somewhere. That's wizards, sorcerers, and warlocks, for those of you keeping track at home. And then there's also Mage the Ascension, which has that lovely thing called Paradox. Have either of you played Mage the Ascension? I'm not sure.
I've played Mage the Awakening as a mage. So.
Okay, so you know what Paradox is.
Oh, yes.
For those who don't know.
Oh, yes.
For those who don't know, Paradox is, well, in these games, there's an acceptable reality. Like, you could do certain things, but if you see certain things, it's like, wait, that doesn't fit. That doesn't track. Paradox is the thing that A, corrects it so that, oh, no, that was just a weather balloon. And then B, punishes the mage that did the thing, is like, no, you want to go reality? No, bad mage, no biscuit.
That's a really good way of describing it, actually.
Bad mage, no biscuit. I kind of like that one. Mm-hmm. But what Paradox does is keeps mages honest and keeps them having to be subtle. So what do you do in a situation where the whole of reality is kind of looking at you with a hammer going, don't try it, pal. You invent something that can get around it. You invent the gun. Because people may not know how guns work precisely, but they're accepted. And then if you're like the technocracy and you're inventing guns, then you slowly introduce it as like, oh, hey, we created this thing. Is it magic? Maybe. But is it science?
As of recording this episode, I am currently reading through my second reading of Men at Arms by Terry Pratchett, which is in the Discworld series, and the mystery in that story revolves around Leonard of Quirm, the Leonardo da Vinci stand-in in the Discworld, inventing something called the gun, which makes people gone. And it is a gun. He's invented a gun.
Okay.
Fair.
So it's a fun tie-in, which I didn't actually think of until just now because I'm in the middle of the book again. So I like all of that, with the understanding that depending on how the definition of our magic works, if it has limitations. Now, I do want to argue with you a little bit with the assertion that magic has limitations, because magic doesn't have to have limitations if you're writing a story where it doesn't, because magic is a thing that can be something that doesn't exist. So in the Mage the Awakening, there are certain limitations. In D&D, of course, there are limitations. That's one of the interesting things about this question, is that, like, it's such a nebulous definition.
Yeah, and that's fair. But everything I've seen, there has been some limitation. So
I think it's really funny that you brought up Mage of the Awakening, because the character that I was playing in that game was actually a police officer who then became a mage. And so depending on the situation and the needs of the moment, sometimes he has a gun. Well, I mean, he always has a gun because he's a police officer, but sometimes he uses the gun and sometimes he uses magic. And it's like, you know, you get to pick. You have the best of both worlds if you're a magician with a gun.
Exactly.
For the benefit of adding a bit of context for that, if I recall correctly, the way we were playing that game, it was a very street level story, and the character kind of had just awoken and just was afraid of everything magical and didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So it would totally make sense that he would like still want to keep the gun.
Yeah, like the first session was the character's awakening, and for a very long time in game, actually out of game as well, the character just thought that they were losing their grip on reality. And it was a really fun way to play that character, actually. I really enjoyed that character quite a bit.
Honestly, I feel like that was a good place to end that one.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, hey, thanks, Chris, for weighing in on this one, and we will catch up with you next time you're around. It's good to see you. Oh, and if the next guest is in the lobby, tell them we'll get to them in just a minute. Thank you. Okay, we're making good progress here. I think we should take a break from all this reminiscing and play some Nintendo games. What do you think, Jim? Do you want to play Kirby's Dream Land 3 or Yoshi's Island?
Hey, is it worse to be eaten by Kirby or by Yoshi?
You know, we actually asked Brian that in episode 57, Zero G DDT. What do you think Dak thinks about it?
Well, okay. This is, I mean, an age-old question. Who would you rather be eaten by, Kirby or Yoshi? And, you know, I think it really boils down to, do you want to potentially survive that encounter, or do you want to be elevated into a new plane of existence? Because, you know,
tough.
Yoshi, at the very least, is gonna poop you out as an egg, right? So, you know, you're essentially, you know, a born again dinosaur. Whereas Kirby, I mean, first off, Kirby is essentially like an eldritch horror god in like a Fisher-Price wrapper. You know, like we should be terrified of Kirby and everything that he does. But
I am.
I feel like being eaten by Kirby, first off, you're not going to survive the encounter. Furthermore, I think that technically means that Kirby has the ability to then sort of turn into you.
Yeah.
Which, you know, maybe that is a plane of existence that, you know, one might aspire to be, you know? I think if any one of us has the chance of becoming an Eldritch Horror god, it is through Kirby's mouth.
Well, that makes me think, I don't know how many of our listeners have seen Being John Malkovich, but that makes me think someone could be eaten by Kirby and then learn to control and take over Kirby.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that, I know me particularly, I don't think I would bestow any powers on Kirby, so I think I would just vanish into the ether.
That's true. That's a really good point. You know, what actually defines whether or not somebody turns into, like, if Kirby eats you, that you were unique enough to then offer him some ability as opposed to just being eaten?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because it's interesting. Like, if you look at Waddle Dee, you just eat a Waddle Dee and nothing happens. But if you eat an Umbrella Waddle Dee, then you get the Umbrella powers. So is it just whatever things are toting along at the moment?
It's actually eating the umbrella that gave him the power. The Waddle Dee was just there.
Super powerful umbrella, basically. Yeah, I mean, so I guess, you know, the answer for me would probably be Yoshi, because one, I would love being an egg. I've always wanted to do that, Jim. You know that.
I thought you always wanted to be a cyborg.
Yeah, an egg cyborg. I want to hatch as a robot. So if we can sort of figure out that, but you know, I think I would just be too terrified that I would end up in some like permanent hellscape purgatory of Kirby's stomach in like some weird fifth dimension torture chamber. You know?
Well, now, conversely, it seems like that in a lot of the regular old Yoshi's Island type games that when Yoshi makes those eggs and throws them, there's nothing in them. They just explode or whatever.
Yeah.
So you may die anyway in the process of that one.
You may explode.
It turns out no one is actually in the eggs. They are the egg.
Yeah.
They are the egg. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's a good question. Does Kirby ever poop out an egg that then is a being? Has that ever happened, like, canonically?
I think in Super Smash Brothers, when Kirby has Yoshi powers.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So, like, Smash Bros. Rules. If it's Smash Brothers rules, and I'm just gonna take, like, 18% damage, Kirby all day.
Yeah.
I remember talking about Super Smash Brothers does seem to be the only example of people breaking free of the eggs, aside from Yoshi himself. And Super Smash Brothers is a weird gray area because the lore of Super Smash Brothers is that they are all toys being played with by a child.
Oh, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Does that continue through the later series? Especially
I have no idea.
Like Kirby literally is like a god in like the most recent Smash Brothers. I'm pretty sure. Like he was the one who saved everything.
Yeah, I don't think it's touched on again as far as like the toy aspect of it, other than in the first game.
Okay.
But I mean, we can headcanon whatever we want. We're allowed.
That's true. Well, I mean, I guess in one instance you can potentially become Kirby. In the other, you become ammunition.
Yeah.
What a dichotomy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. What about you guys? Which one would you rather do?
I am stuck on your initial proposal that it's either die or become part of some existential crisis. And I feel like, depending on how that works, I'd rather die, I think. It's kind of like being eaten by an animal. Like, I'd rather be eaten by the animal that's going to kill me the quickest.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of risk reward here, you know? I think with Yoshi, you're getting what's on the tin. You're going to turn into an egg. You'll probably come out. You might not, right? It's not going to feel great. I'm sure the inside of Kirby's digestive system is not like the most pleasant place to be. But, whatever. I think with Kirby, it could be anything. It could be you literally just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Or it could be the worst possible existence. Or maybe you become part of the assimilation that is Kirby, and now you are a god.
Kirby
it could be all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would give Kirby really curly hair.
I would love to actually. Can you, after this podcast, can you draw you as Kirby?
Sure, I'll do the Kirby after he's eaten me and got
do us all as Kirby.
I'll work on that. I'll work
It'll
on that.
It'll be perfect. Yeah.
I think one very important thing to remember, though, is that Yoshi and Kirby, they don't just eat whatever they want to. They go around and they eat bad guys. And so I don't think Kirby or Yoshi would eat any of us because we're not getting in their way. We're not doing evil, nefarious things. So
you don't know what I do when I'm not recording this podcast.
Well, that's on you then. If you're making Kirby angry, this lovable puffball who really has no cares in the world, then you're just poking a bear.
I'm just trying to conquer Dreamland.
In fact, I think you'd be better off poking a bear.
Yeah. What other video game characters eat things? Are there any others that
there's got to be?
Do that?
Metroid, Pac-Man.
Oh, dude, being eaten by Pac-Man would definitely be a bummer.
Well, he'd eat everything but your eyes.
Yeah.
He
would just.
And then they'd have to identify you from your vision records.
That's true. Oh my god! All right, now draw that as well. Anyway,
all right, I've got a homework list.
I think I'd probably pick being eaten by Yoshi, but if I'm feeling spicy, maybe I'd go for Kirby.
All right. Well, thanks for weighing in. We'll talk to you next time, and let's get back to our Nintendo games.
All right, thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this has been a decent episode, so we're probably going to wrap it up here because I don't think we have any more questions to talk about today. Oh, wait, there are more! And the next one's right here. That's egg on my face. Which is interesting because this question comes from episode 28, which was called Egg on Your Face.
Oh.
That wasn't forced at all. In that episode, we asked Jonathan this. We have Adam back in the laboratory to ask him, assuming a person has a nice round 100 HP, how many HP of damage would someone take falling X number of feet?
You're just a masterful segue, Captain.
I'm very, Absolutely. Yeah, I did that all off the cuff.
I am impressed. It was well done. First off, I thought that episode 28 was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed the discussion on this question. But what I found kind of interesting is the way the question is phrased. I kind of felt like you guys and Jonathan didn't tackle it from the direction that I would have. So,
okay.
Well, that's why you're here.
Yeah. So I know that I am usually coming in talking about how, spiders breathe through their butts and how cicadas have learned how to farm fungus, but this is going to be a real nerd D&D kind of thing here.
Hooray!
For which I do not apologize. But you guys, there are two things that I wanted to kind of bring up talking about this question. One is what I've alluded to, that I want to come at it from a different direction. And two is that you mentioned in that episode, Derek, you mentioned that you didn't like hit points. And I want to touch on that briefly as well. But first, the actual question itself. So it says, assuming a person has 100 hit points, how many hit points of damage would they take? And you guys did a great job of looking at, a D&D, falling damage, 1d6 per 10 feet, up to a maximum of 12d6, and you kind of went around that a little bit. But the thing is, in D&D, if a person has 100 hit points, they have class levels. And that drastically alters the amount of damage that they might take from any amount of fall.
Oh.
And I wanted to real briefly talk about two extremes, the wizard and the barbarian. Now, hit points are determined in D&D by your class. The more martial classes tend to be more durable, so they get more hit points. And the magic-using classes tend to be a little less durable, so they get fewer hit points. And that's determined by the hit die. So every time you gain a level, you roll a specific die, and that tells you how many hit points you get, right? And then that might be modified by things like your constitution modifier and feats that you have, et cetera, et cetera.
It's too many things.
Barbarians get a D12 for their hit die. Which means if you have a barbarian that gets no other modifiers but whatever they roll on their die, they can have 100 hit points as low as 8th level. And on average, they'll get it around 13th or 14th level, I think.
That's up
and
to
at
20.
That point, barbarians easily have one of the most powerful damage mitigating class features in the game, which is when a barbarian is raging, it has resistance to bludgeoning damage, which means it halves any bludgeoning damage. So a barbarian can take the maximum number of d6 damage and still have it. And on average, that's going to bring them out to something like 75 hit points of damage that they'll take. So they'll certainly survive that fall, and will severely mitigate the damage that they're taking.
That makes sense.
So that's just barbarians. Wizards are a lot more squishy.
Yeah.
Wizards get a D6 for their hit dice. Because they get a D6, a wizard probably, on average, a wizard doesn't get 100 hit points until something like 28th level.
Does it go up to that high?
In 5th edition, not usually, no.
Okay.
In previous editions, that's well into epic level territory.
Gotcha.
If that wizard is rolling maximum hit dice and has some feats to give them more HP and that sort of thing, they might get it before they hit 20th level. But it takes a long time for a wizard to hit 100 hit points.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, there is really no reason that a wizard wouldn't prepare either fly or feather fall every day.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Lots and lots of spell slots at that point. And if they have fly or feather fall, unless there's a beholder hanging around with an anti-magic cone for them to go through, they're not going to take any damage at all from whatever fall, because they're just gonna fly or float down. So even though it takes them a lot longer to get that 100 HP, they're probably going to be fine. So anyway, the point of all of this is, if the question is, we assume they have 100 HP, how much damage will they take? It really depends on how they acquired that 100 HP.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I know we had talked briefly about like different systems, and is 100 a high number or a low number?
And yeah, that's depending on your system. Sometimes hit points is just weird. If you're playing Vampire the Masquerade in the 90s, then 100 hit points is a fake thing.
It's yeah, you have like 5 hit points, right? In that.
It just matters how much blood you have.
Oh yeah, fair.
The other thing I wanted to say is, I know, Derek, you said that you hate hit points.
I may have been exaggerating.
Well, perhaps, but briefly, I'm wondering why you felt the need to say that.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but in that specific episode, but I'm pretty sure the idea being in hit points in like video games or something, because I come from a background of like 2D fighters, and getting kicked in the ankle does the same amount of damage if you only have 1 hit point left. It will knock you unconscious, the same as getting a pile driver, you know? And so I recognize hit points are a necessity exists, that hit points have to be an abstraction. And I think my disdain for them comes from when people take them too literally, I suppose.
Okay. That's fair. They absolutely are an abstraction, and what I like to encourage my players to recognize is that they don't necessarily mean damage.
Yeah.
The player's handbook for D&D explicitly states that they represent durability and the will to live.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of a fight, you have a lot of energy. You have the ability to dodge more attacks. So, that attack might have hit you, but it only hit you a glancing blow because you were able to turn away from it. And as the fight goes on, you have less of that energy. So a similar blow is more taxing to you. And the will to live, there's stuff going on that as you fight on, and maybe some of your compatriots have fallen, or maybe you've seen a fire consume half of the building that you're in, and there comes a point where you just want to say, you know what, maybe we can be done with this.
Yeah.
So there's a mental aspect to it too. And I think that that's something that I really enjoy role-playing, that sort of thing, that as a fight goes on, it wears on you.
Oh, for sure.
And I like to encourage players to do the same.
Everything you just said there, I do really like that interpretation of how dead somebody is can be like how wary they are of battle, right?
Not quite dead yet.
I'm not quite dead yet. So thank you, Adam, for being here. I hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah.
In episode 35, we made all the internet mad at once. We also talked to Ryan about this question. Assuming we could make contact with an alien civilization, should we? And now Brian is joining us to tell us what he thinks about it. So, what do you think about it, Brian?
Okay, I think that you guys came down on the side of vaguely, yes, probably we should.
Okay.
And I think it's because you watched way more Star Trek than I did growing up, where there was at least medium levels of success in those interactions.
We did talk a lot about Star Trek on that episode, I remember.
Yes. Yeah. It's generally a pretty optimistic show, which I appreciate, and I think that's nice and probably for the best for our world and entertainment. But I didn't grow up watching Star Trek, so I'm not an optimist about aliens.
You grew up watching The Three-Body Problem, because that was a thing that was a show when we were kids.
Definitely little kid me time traveled 20 years into the future to watch a show, and then went back. So yeah, I think we probably should not try to interact with any aliens. The basics of why starts with the Fermi paradox, which I will quickly spell out. First, sort of brought up by a physicist named Enrico Fermi. And basically, it goes, there are billions of stars in the Milky Way similar to the Sun. With high probability, some of these stars have Earth-like planets orbiting in the habitable zone. Many of these stars, and hence their planets, are much older than the Sun. If Earth-like planets are typical, some may have developed intelligent life long ago. Some of these civilizations may have developed interstellar travel, a step that humans are investigating. Even at the slow pace of envisioned interstellar travel, the Milky Way galaxy could be completely traversed in a few million years. Since many of the Sun-like stars are billions of years older than our Sun, the Earth should have been visited by extraterrestrial civilizations, or at least their probes. However, there is no convincing evidence that this has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in that is pretty undeniable. There's a bunch of possible explanations for why, though. Just as far as, in my opinion, the most likely is probably just that life is inherently very unique. I don't know exactly why. But, plenty of debate to be had about that. But there is two theories that I think are pertinent to this discussion about why. The first one that was first put forward in the 80s is the Berserker hypothesis, which is that some virus-like, probably AI, might have taken it upon itself to seek out any civilization that it can detect and destroy them.
Yeah.
But a lot of people maybe say, we might be able to detect something like that if it was happening out there. So I think the more interesting hypothesis is the Dark Forest hypothesis.
I love these ominous titles.
Yeah. Well, it's an ominous. Yeah. It is an ominous thought, according to the Dark Forest hypothesis. Since the intentions of any newly contacted civilization can never be known with certainty, then if one is encountered, it is best to make a preemptive strike in order to avoid the potential extinction of one's own species. Basically it is like everyone is staying purposefully silent, and everyone that doesn't gets killed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That makes some degree of sense, because most people who are expanding and exploring, those are the people who are going to make contact with a civilization that isn't doing that. So probably they are going to come and try to take, right?
Yeah. And then that might happen, once they become sufficient at spreading their messages into the stars to actually get in contact, then they might get got relatively quickly. So then and then if it happened, even 100 years ago, right, plus or minus the time it takes for the signal to travel to us, then if it was just 100 years off, then we wouldn't know,
Okay.
So, yeah, that series of books and now a show, The Three-Body Problem, goes into this a lot. The books are very interesting, but it is kind of it's hard for me to argue with the basis of that. If aliens exist, I guess I am scared of them.
That makes sense. I went back and listened to that episode, and we talked about the Prime Directive from Star Trek quite a bit. And I appreciate that you kind of called us out for that, because in years later, going back to it, I was like, oh, I wish we had stuck on these other topics for longer. But also, that episode was only like half an hour long, which was, how do we do that?
Didn't have a gabber like me on, for sure.
I do think it's interesting because the other thing that sort of throws a wrench into this is that even if somebody finds us, will they be able to get to us? And that's the real tricky thing, because, if they're hearing our radio signals and can't get to us, then no big deal. But the ones that can get to us.
Yeah, they if they can't get to us, then it's just an exchange of ideas is the most that can happen, right?
You're right. Emailing Alpha Centauri.
That's fair.
That's not, I mean, that would be great. But yeah, I guess you can't know if they can get to you. It's like if you can't know anything about them before you contact them.
Yeah.
So that's the scary part.
I mean, I do think we should make contact with Alpha Centauri, because famously the plans for the demolition of Earth have been on display there for a very long time.
Yeah. We should probably get on that.
That's Hitchhiker's reference.
Yeah, I think we should just put bags on our heads and lay down.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian, for celebrating our 200th episode with us.
Thank you for having me on to tell you why you were wrong several years ago.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Joe is here to answer a question we first talked about with Justin. It was originally intended for episode 88, but we had to cut it for time and released it a while later as a bonus episode. So, Joe, if time tourism ever became a thing, which historical events would you go back and watch?
So I kind of came at this from the perspective of trying to kind of go through like experiences, because I tend to be more of like an experience-driven individual when it comes to like if I'm going to go do something.
Mm-hmm.
For me, one of the first ones that immediately came to mind was being able to go back and experience being there in person for like the I Have a Dream speech.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Being able to like feel the electricity that was in the crowd that day. Like just being able to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I had come up with was there's the old joke about all men think about's the Roman Empire. But I'll tell you what, imagine being able to go experience the Roman Empire at its height of power and influence.
Yeah. Imagine getting to stab Caesar.
Right.
Well, it would be specifically interesting to see like the Colosseum before it collapsed.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
All the different ruins across Europe, really, I think would be kind of cool.
And talk about experience if you want to join in on the stabbing, I suppose.
Yeah. Or like just imagine with that being able to see the Roman Senate in full swing. Like getting to experience kind of that, not the first form of democracy, but like kind of the most famous one that led to the creation of our own.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Go back to Athens.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Another one, again, when we're talking about the just experiences in history. Again, I my head maybe goes to some weirder places than others, but like I immediately thought of like being present at the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Oh, yeah.
I can see that.
That's another one where I imagine there's probably it probably had such a unique feel, the way that people were acting, the energy.
Like we have pictures, we have video footage, but imagine being there. Imagine again that it had to have been in some ways electric. And then also like family members, some family members being reunited after years of being separated by that wall.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the approach. I mean, it's a very subtle addition to what we talked about before, because we've obviously cited some like world-shaping events that we could go see, and I know Jim and I talked about like prehistoric events.
Yeah.
But you specifically focusing on, if I'm interpreting this correctly, to experience it, you're focusing on like the lesser publicized kind of looking at how the people feel at these events. And I really like that because, the I Have a Dream speech in particular, the fall of the Berlin Wall, these are well-documented events, but you can't understand what it was like to be there.
Yeah.
And so that's a cool thing to think about.
Yeah.
And like, it's still, and even like as a tourist, it's still going to be you're still going to lack some of that context, because these are people who have been living this for years and decades, but you still then get that chance to see these people. And I know you kind of brought up in the original that like you're not necessarily interacting with them, like you're kind of protected from them, they're protected from you.
Yeah.
But like even with that in mind, just that energy of being able to be there. And then I had one more that's again very similar.
Okay.
But for me this is a little bit personal as well. But like a music tour through the ages. Imagine being able to, go sit and listen to a concert by Beethoven, by Mozart, by Bach.
Oh, I love that for
sure.
But
then, coming a little bit more forward, Elvis, Amy Winehouse, and then the one that's really personal for me is Linkin Park prior to Chester's suicide. And being able to, just get to experience, for people who love these bands, who love those composers, to be able to sit and, sure, it's one thing to be able to go to the modern symphony and be able to sit and listen to these interpretations. But imagine being able to go back then, hearing it as directly as intended, and potentially even then being able to speak with those composers and see why they chose what they chose, do what they did.
Yeah, I think that's the human element is a common theme in everything you've said, which is to be anti-AI art for a moment. I recently heard somebody sum up why is human-made art more interesting if you like don't know the person personally, and it's if you know an image is generated by AI, you know that it's just logarithmically, statistically what it thinks the image should look like. But if you know a person designed it, you can really look at the same image and be like, why did they choose to do this?
Exactly.
So I really like that common thread throughout everything you've said.
Yeah, that is, and the funny thing is I didn't even see that, but as soon as you verbalized it, that's exactly it. It's I want to be able to experience again like that human connection to all of these major events. Because you're right, like you said, the I Have a Dream speech, like I mentioned, the fall of the Berlin Wall, like these are highly recorded things. We have video, we have media that we can pull up in the palm of our hand and watch these. But being there and being with these people who are experiencing it for the first time and living it, that just that reaches to a deeper part of my soul than I can explain with words.
That's kind of beautiful, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, and then as a little bonus one, because I know it was go back in time, I'd also love it if I could just go like 5,000 years in the future and just see what it looks like.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll have you back on in a future episode and see what it looks like.
Heck yeah.
Episode 126 was titled Think Happy Thoughts or fall out of the sky. And while that sounds vaguely like a threat, I assure you it was actually because we talked with David about Peter Pan in that episode. If it were a threat, it would have sounded a little something like this. Hey, Joel, what is pixie dust made of and how does it grant you the ability to fly when thinking happy thoughts? You better answer if you know what's good for you. See, it was a threat.
That was threatening.
Yeah.
Boy, am I glad that I wrote my senior English thesis on Peter Pan. That's a
what?
Weird happenstance that you should ask me. Why is pixie dust the way it is? No, I was going back to the back episodes, and I thought it was a great conversation. And
oh, cool!
You all hit on some great ideas, and I think that you even got pretty close. Because at one point you were joking about it being some kind of psychedelic drug and the power of the emotion itself. Which is somewhat true because it is the power of emotions. We know that thinking happy thoughts is what makes you fly. And then as Wendy is descending to Neverland, she does so by saying, "Poor Wendy," and thinking those sad thoughts. So we know there's some correlation there. I think David suggested that the fairies were just dirty and that there is some correlation between the dust of Neverland and some kind of physics altering properties. There were some good things, and I think you all were kind of dancing around what truly is, I think, the most vaguely scientific answer that we could provide.
Oh, I'm excited.
If we go back to J.M. Barrie, now one thing that I know there was some conversation in there. Part of the problem with delving and trying to parse out Peter Pan lore is that J.M. Barrie did not really establish a solid lore for Peter Pan at any one given point. Since it started as a play and then he kind of wrote some of these other stories, a lot of it was stemmed out of his playtime with the Davies children in where they were in Kensington Gardens. If you've never seen Finding Neverland, it's an interesting exploration of some of the backstory of Peter Pan.
Yeah, I really like that movie.
It's a fantastic movie. The Peter Pan story has developed in bits and pieces, and to the point that not even the play was the same script or production twice, because they kept making tweaks along the way, and there's no real record of some of that development. But if you use the novel as kind of a basis for starting it, J.M. Barrie talks about Tinkerbell being so jealous of Wendy and her spontaneous plan to convince the Lost Boys that Wendy is a bird and should be shot down. He writes that Tink was not all bad, or rather, she was all bad just now. But on the other hand, sometimes she was all good. Fairies have to be one thing or the other. Because being so small, they unfortunately have room for one feeling only at a time. They are, however, allowed to change, only it must be a complete change.
Yeah, there's part of it where like they're only big enough to hold one emotion at a time, right?
Exactly, yeah. And if they can only hold one emotion at a time, I was thinking about the fact that in most of the iterations of this Tinkerbell is this kind of luminous being. She's emitting some kind of energy. So there's some kind of biochemical process that happens that must be on the same level as fireflies, things like that create that bioluminescent property. And so there's a lot of, there would have to be a lot of biological, chemical, metabolic processes that are going on in there. And I suspect that I don't know whether I'd look to somebody with a better sense of fantasy anatomy. Maybe go back to some of our centaur experts. The energy that is required from changing one emotion to another. I think pixie dust is a byproduct of that biochemical reaction, and so it's a naturally produced product from fairies.
Yeah.
That has that psychoactive property, so that thinking happy thoughts causes you to have an elevated mood, and so you raise up. If you think sad thoughts, perhaps you feel more weighed down, and so you are there. I don't know if there's been a lot of study done in the Neverlandian community as far as like
we got to get on that.
If you get really, exactly. I think we should be funding some grants and things to explore. But like if you're covered in pixie dust and you get very angry, do you have a chance of spontaneously combusting?
I just want to say that I wish that this was a video format right now, because I have been not contributing a lot vocally, but I've been sitting here just speechless with a smile on my face this whole freaking time.
Well, then my work here is done.
I think it's fascinating, actually. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, we really need to do I guess not anatomy of fairies, but just like a study of fairies discussion at some point.
Yeah, like what is, like, how do they make this? What is it? That kind of stuff. Like,
well, and I was thinking about it because if I recall correctly, I think this holds up across different genres or across different fantasy world views, because I think there are, if you're one of those real nerds who goes and collects all of your spell components in Dungeons and Dragons and has to keep track of those things instead of just being cool and using an arcane focus like most of us. Actually, the cool people are the ones that know the ingredients. The rest of us are just lazy and don't want to look it up.
Oh, the arcane focus is the lazy way. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. Yeah, work smarter, not harder. I think for those who are familiar with spell components, especially because D&D hides a lot of Easter eggs in their spell components, and they're all escaping me at the moment. But when you look at those spell components, it's like, oh yeah, that makes absolute sense. And I see there's a little pun in here as to why it requires a money, some kind of spell that would increase your skill at a merchant would require you to have a copper coin, because a penny saved is a penny earned. Kinds of jokes are thrown in there. I seem to recall that some of those things require an ingredient of like crushed fairy wings, maybe for something like the Featherfall spell or something like that. So
maybe.
I would see how if crushing the fairy wings, you would be getting some of that pixie dust. Because I don't think there's a pixie dust ingredient specifically in D&D.
Maybe not.
It takes more of that fantasy approach where it's like using a specific wing of a fairy or eye of newt or things like that.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you that this is the kind of nerds we are. When Dave and I play D&D, we really like diving into, if the wizard can do this spell, what ingredients do they need, and how does the ritual of casting the spell actually go? And like we love that kind of flavor.
Yeah.
The kind of stuff people just hand wave because it's not, rolling dice and hitting bad guys.
Speaking for myself as a DM from time to time, sometimes that influences my choices as to what you are as a player able to accomplish. If you come at me saying I'm going to cast let's go back to another question. Talk to animals, for example.
Right.
Depending on how you describe that, might give you more information than you otherwise would have received. Because I'm going to reward better role play for people who play creatively with the spell.
Well, I love when people play creatively with the spells. I loved that Joel came back and talked to us. I didn't know you did your senior paper on Peter Pan. I just know that you're fun to talk to about literature.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here.
Always a joy.
I'd like to take a minute to step away from the festivities for a moment to let the listeners know we're doing some renovations on our secret moon base that doesn't exist and isn't real, and don't worry about it. And I remember Big A asked if we knew what would be the best cheese to make a moon out of back in episode 22 titled Lunar Lunacy. And I was thinking we should call Catherine in here to find out if she has any ideas to add to our charcuterie of questions. Hello, Catherine.
I'm good. How about you?
Good.
I think it's kind of fun to remember. I just want to stick it in there is that that was for the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, and
it was,
and we've since passed the 55th anniversary of that. So
well, whoops.
That's good. I think it's fun, but anyway.
Also, okay, did I totally answer? Did you say how are you, or did you say what do you think?
Because I think I just said hi, but
that's so funny.
I'm glad to know you are well, though.
You can cut out my very awkward response then if you want, or leave it in if you think it's funny. Whatever. Anyway, sorry. Off to a great start.
I remember I went back and listened to this episode, and I'm pretty sure we just listed a bunch of cheeses. I want to know what you have to say about this.
Well, I went back and listened to what you all had to say at the time because I was very fascinated what direction you were going to take this question. And there was a lot of discussion on how you wanted to make sure you chose a cheese that wouldn't crumble, like a hard enough cheese, but one that wouldn't crumble, which makes sense to me. But then the other plot hole I found in my mind, listening through that episode, because you also mentioned earlier on in the episode how hot the surface of the moon gets in the daytime when the sun is on it. So then, of course, my mind goes to like, well, would it melt? Would it melt in the daytime and then you would have no moon? And that also sounds like an issue. So I was like, okay, so we don't want it to crumble, but we also don't want it to like melt and just fade away into the universe, right? So I was is there a cheese that doesn't melt very well? And there are some cheeses that don't melt very well, but instead kind of soften or just hold their shape. But some of those are still crumbly, right? Like feta is one. It kind of melts, but it kind of holds its shape, but it's very crumbly. Like queso fresco, that's another one. The one that I was like, wait, this could actually be a good contender is paneer, found in many Indian cuisine dishes.
I don't know that one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, first of all, I'm a huge Indian food fan. It's like my favorite genre of food. And paneer cheese is a very hard cheese, and even when it's in hot dishes, it like holds its shape very well. And usually in Indian dishes, they're in little cubes, and even in a very hot dish, it still is quite firm and holds its shape. So that is what I want to drop in as a moon cheese contender.
Okay. I like it. I just looked up an image of a dish, an Indian dish made with paneer cheese, because I've never heard of this cheese before, and I like cheese quite a bit, so I needed to know. And if I just saw this image, I would have thought it was tofu in something. So that's really fascinating to me.
It looks a lot like cubes of tofu. You're 100% right. They look really similar when they're like coated in something.
I think I'm looking at the same picture you are.
Probably. I just typed in paneer cheese and it was the first thing that came up.
Yeah.
Yep. It is. I mean, I think it's delicious. If you've never tried it and you like Indian type flavors, I'd highly suggest it.
Well, I'm definitely going to now.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I think it could make a decent moon comparatively.
Yeah. I Googled now. So like my default go-to thing to do whenever we record any question for this is to just type the question verbatim into Google to see what comes up. And in recent years, that has been skewed a little bit because now the first thing that comes up is the AI overview. But I did find this particular one interesting because I did that and I got the AI overview and it just said Parmesan definitively. And I was like, please elaborate on that. I don't know why.
Oh my gosh. So you don't know why?
I don't know. I mean, it gave more reasons, but I don't like to read just the AI thing. But the fact that it just had such a definitive answer, I was like, is this a commonly Googled question or something?
Well, it's a very hard cheese, so that tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, we did talk about the surface being hot, but it also gets really cold on the nighttime side of the moon. So I'm wondering how well the whole moon would deal with like half of it being the surface being melty and then freezing again I guess it would be a whole month, right? So maybe that wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, because you're going to get like 14 days of day and 14 days of night. So, well, and the other weird thing, I don't know if we actually mentioned this or not, but the whole moon is in a vacuum. So,
oh yeah.
It's not like the cheese is necessarily going to rot, but it is also going to be exposed to space radiation, solar radiation, and things like that. So, maybe radioactive cheese?
The moon is made of Well, the moon was made of green cheese. That was the expression.
Oh, that's true. Green is the radioactive color, so...
I mean, I associate green glow with radioactivity, which I think is just from comic books, but...
Yeah. Radioactive moon cheese.
I feel like it would get all cracked rather than cratered.
Well, I think it would probably dry out very quickly.
Oh, that's fair.
And so I wonder if it would get sort of a cracked texture to it, kind of like when you see a mud puddle dry up and the dirt sort of forms those crack like plates almost.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that would happen. And then again, it also probably depends on what the melting point of some of these cheeses are too. So.
Oh, that's true.
Because if it's got a real low melting point and the moon gets up around 200 degrees above zero, you're just going to have a bad time. So
is that Celsius or Fahrenheit?
I believe Fahrenheit.
Okay, because if it's Fahrenheit, most cheeses, I think, will melt at 200 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it must be Fahrenheit because I think you said in the lunar episode that during the daytime, it gets up to boiling point.
Right.
So, because that's 212 Fahrenheit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that tracks.
Fair enough. Well, now we have some direction on what not to construct our secret moon base out of.
Yeah.
So don't
Unless...
look for... Go ahead, Jim.
Let's consider that if we build this base underground, then the temperature fluctuations won't be so bad, and we just sculpt the cheese walls.
Ah, okay. We line the cave walls with a layer of cheese.
Which might be really good for sound dampening if you pick a nice soft cheese.
Well, we do record a podcast in there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Catherine, for your input, and it was wonderful having you here, and I'm glad to know that you are doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't cut it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Always a blast.
Let us continue celebrating 200 episodes with our next guest. His first episode of Vaguely Scientific was 113, so he's almost celebrating a milestone of his own here today.
Nice.
Come on in, Mark.
Hello. Welcome. Glad to be back.
Hooray! And you've brought us a more recent question here from episode 188, A Good Ghost Host. The guest on that episode was Anne, and we asked, what household appliance would be the worst to have inhabited by a ghost? And I believe the answer was bidet.
Ooh, good answer.
Spoilers if you haven't listened to it.
Well, that's more like what's the worst for the human owner of the house. But my question to you, dear listeners, is what would be the worst appliance for the ghost to inhabit? What's the worst ghost home in your home?
Worst ghost home.
There's a lot of bad places to live in a home, I think. I think the microwave is pretty bad. I have a feeling that would mess with like the ectoplasm.
That's true.
Let's talk about ectoplasm.
Yeah, if ghosts have a lot of electromagnetic-ness to them, being in a box that is electromagnetic waves, not so great.
Might not be there for long,
It's true.
Your microwave would be all sticky all the time.
Yeah, and green and gross.
Got slimed. So we're talking about the ghost living. Well, I guess not living. Huh. The ghost inhabiting.
That took me a second.
The ghost being in the object.
Yeah.
Right? So I wouldn't want to spend all my time inside a microwave.
I was thinking for the enrichment of the ghost, the ghost might want to communicate. Maybe you could beep as a microwave. So maybe that wouldn't be so bad. Maybe you could control the number panel to make calculator letters.
Mm-hmm.
You could say naughty things to your homeowner.
Yeah.
Say 8008.
Yeah. There's
exactly.
really just the one naughty thing.
There's the one. Yeah, what else can you say?
My microwave's haunted. That's all the ghost can tell me.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think that given my microwave, it might be able to put together a few more words than my calculator could.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
Because mine has like you push a button and it's like, defrost, or you push a button and it says popcorn, and then it scrolls by. So it's got some vocabulary, that microwave.
It can say hot 8008.
Before it gets microwaved out of reality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the on button. It's gone.
Poor ghost.
Poor ghost. Hopefully it's the ghost of somebody who has the mindset of a high school student. I don't know.
Yeah. Boy, what else would be?
It specifically said appliance, and I remember getting hung up about the definition of appliance before, because we talked about computers and Alexa and smart homes and things like that. I want to say an analog appliance.
Oh, yeah.
Might be, because then you have fewer options, assuming the ghost has to control the appliance in some like metaphysical way, I guess. Like a hand egg beater, can they crank that, or does it just sit there because there's no power? Does the ghost need power? I don't know. There's so many questions.
Yeah, because I was thinking blender, because the blender typically sits idle for, I'd say 6 days a week, and then is only on for like 2 minutes in that one stretch. I don't use my blender a whole lot. So
I have a blender somewhere in my basement, which tells you how often I use it.
The blender in the basement. Ah! So it sounds like a horror story. It could be.
Yeah.
The blender in the basement. Yeah, that's a R.L. Stein book.
Yeah.
Turns out it wasn't the blender in the basement. It was just the ghost inside the blender in the basement.
Yeah. The ghost inside the blender in the basement.
And the hole in the bottom of the sea.
And the hole. I was gonna say that.
I think an analog appliance could be pretty cool. Handheld egg beater, could you could fly through the air maybe.
Ooh.
My microwave is like attached to the wall, so it's not going anywhere.
Oh, well, can it though?
I mean, if that ghost is strong enough, it could.
I guess so. He could like pop out of screws in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that the ghosts, they're tethered to the appliance, but they're not necessarily tethered to what the appliance is tethered to. So, like, here's my pitch now. You get the microwave. Let's just stick on microwave. And you put that microwave on, like, a chair with wheels. And now the ghost is mobile.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea. I don't actually know how microwaves work, but they work for communication, right? Could you build a device to let the ghost communicate to you through the microwave with microwaves?
Because you said specifically with microwaves, I was like, oh, you could like heat up a burned pattern in the food. Which is not what you meant, but that's what it immediately made me think of. I know in the episode we talked about like having the ghost burn messages into toast.
Yeah. Which everyone had thought of except for me. I remember that.
One of the things I think is so funny about this question is that they would be limited to an appliance, and it wouldn't be like a haunted doll, which is like the traditional vessel for a ghost to inhabit, is like a creepy doll in the corner. Or, like a haunted closet. The ghost is like in the closet making bumping noises. No, it has to be an appliance. And I just think that's great.
Well, yeah, because I had even thought a car or something like Christine, and I was like, but that's not a household appliance, at least.
Oh, yeah, true.
So, yeah, you're stuck to like hair dryers or electric toothbrushes. Here's a question. So a toothbrush, I would say, is a utensil, but an electric toothbrush is now that's an appliance. So, but analog egg beater, I don't know. Is that an appliance? Does an appliance need to be powered? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it just has to be built for like a very specific purpose, like a household purpose.
Fair.
So actually, like a wooden spoon, I don't know if I would call that an appliance. Like that's kind of a utensil.
I would call it a utensil, yeah. But now these are, how arbitrary are these definitions?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that was one of the things that we've talked about with things like the Alexa. Is that an appliance? Is it a computer? Is a computer appliance?
Yeah.
It's really arbitrary.
Well, and then we can give whatever power we want to the ghost, so they can maybe accumulate more appliances.
Ooh, like a Katamari.
Like, it's not really what I was thinking of, but now I'm on board. Because that's how Katamaris work.
Yeah.
It rolled me over, and I'm in there now. All right, well, thanks for revisiting this one with us, Mark. We look forward to seeing you on again. 213 will be your 100th episode.
Yeah. Well,
since joining us.
It won't be his 100th episode.
But it'll be the anniversary.
Yeah, the anniversary episode.
The 4 and some year anniversary.
Yeah.
It looks like our next guest is here, so let's see who it is. It's Sydney! Hello!
Hello, hello!
Hooray! And it looks like you've brought us a question from way, way back, all the way back in episode 2, wow. Foxtrot Tango Kaiju. That was actually the first episode that we aired with a third panelist, which was Addison.
That's right, because there was only just me and you on the first episode.
On the first one, yeah.
I forgot.
And this question is, it's worded thusly, I'm quoting for all of the people out there. Why do people even like dancing? It's stupid. That's part of the question.
I heard,
stupid.
yeah.
I had, yep.
So I wanted to touch on this question for this episode because I vehemently disagree with it. I think dancing is very much not stupid. So I wanted a chance to prove my side of this question here and why I think many people do like dancing. And I was a dancer for a lot of years, so I have a history of taking dance classes, as many young girls do. And I don't really consider myself like a good dancer, but I like to dance. I really enjoy dancing. I think it's fun. I think it's like a chance to be silly and to just move your body. And so I really just wanted to talk about this question and why some people might think that it's stupid.
Ooh, that's interesting. I went back and listened to the episode earlier today, and you know what? We didn't actually talk about why people might think it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of stood up for dancing, but we didn't. Yeah. We just it completely ignored that comment at the end. And right off the bat, I'm going to say most people who think it's stupid are probably people who may be projecting. Well, sure. Most of the people I know that hate dancing, or at least claim to hate dancing, I feel like most of the time they are projecting an insecurity and. They get embarrassed when dancing, so they don't actually think it's stupid. They just feel like they are bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I think there's also just this sort of thing in culture right now. Maybe it's not just unique to this time period, but I feel like when somebody doesn't like something, they will just call it stupid or bad or awful. And they don't realize that sometimes they just have to engage things at the level that they are at. It's okay to be bad at dancing, but to say that dancing is stupid just seems kind of like an overcorrection.
Well, I often get annoyed when I hear people shut down a conversation by saying nobody cares. It's like, no, just you don't care. But other people do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, I do think that it's stupid is kind of a way to just end the conversation. Like, well, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, it's stupid. And that's like the punctuation on the end. So I very much feel like that in this question here. I agree with you, Derek, that definitely I think a lot of people who say that they hate dancing or they don't like dancing or dancing stupid is just like their own internalized self-consciousness that they have, whether it's they're not sure how to stay on rhythm and to stay on beat, or they think they look silly or people are judging them or whatever, that is to them. So I do think a lot of that comes forward. I did a semi-deep dive onto Reddit, Unpopular Opinions, where there are several posts, people saying that they think dancing is stupid. And it was a lot of that. It was a lot of people saying, well, just because you can't dance and you're not good at it doesn't make it stupid. So I definitely think that's one reason that people might think it's stupid. Another thing that was popping up a little bit too was dislike of crowds. And that was something I found really interesting.
Ooh.
That element of dancing.
Oh.
I have that for sure. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't like dancing because I am bad at it. I'm not particularly coordinated in rhythm, but the crowd thing really kind of gels with me. Like if a lot of people are out on a dance floor doing a group activity, I'm the type of person who is like, there's too many people and I don't want to go out there. But meanwhile, put me on stage and a whole crowd of people are watching specifically me, I'm perfectly comfortable. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, it's this weird, like, being in the midst of something versus, well, like, when you're on the stage, you can't necessarily, I don't know, there's a distance there. Like, there's lights and sometimes you're physically raised if the stage is up high. And whereas, like, if you're in a club dancing with people, or even, like, at a wedding on a dance floor, like, everyone is right there next to you. They can touch you. They can feel you. You're all together. And that seemed to be a reoccurring theme on the Reddit as to why a lot of people think dancing is stupid, is they don't like being in a crowded environment. But then, of course, I think you can dance by yourself. Like, I don't think you need to be in a crowd to dance. I think you can just dance at home by yourself. And I think that can be a lot of fun, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dance like no one's looking.
Exactly. Embrace the weird.
We talked about, like, the anthropological idea that, like, dancing is just a cultural, like an innate thing that humans want to do. We feel music and we want to move to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like that we went in kind of a completely different direction than we talked about in the original episode, 8 years ago.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, I was also looking into the studies that they've done on animals and, like, who actually dances. Like, it is the idea of dance that it has to have synchronization to music, or is the idea of dance just movement? Because, like, a lot of birds, they do mating, what we call dances. There's no music involved. So is that really, a dance, or is that something else? But then there has been research into, like, parrots who will hear beats and bop their head to the beats. And the one study was finding, like, more than 25% of the time the parrot's in sync with the beat. So they do believe that the parrot's, like, actually listening to the music and trying to find the beat to bop its head.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, true
cool.
quote unquote dancing.
Mm-hmm. That's really neat.
That's interesting about our birds, like, courtship dances. Are those dances? And, like, I think they are, but does a dance have to be to rhythm? There's so many questions I want to research now.
Yeah, I know. I was following. I was like, oh, so many new research opportunities from this one very simple question.
Wow. Despite the dismissive attitude of the question, it was a good question.
Yeah. I think the dismissive attitude just added to the reason to do it, because then you're like, aha, but actually, it's not stupid.
I think the dismissive attitude may have been a ploy to get us to respond to it.
Yeah,
that's what
it was
I think now.
Definitely reverse psychology.
We fell for it. It worked.
Mm-hmm. That's all right.
For sure. And there's so many different types of dance, too. Like, maybe this person who submitted this question only thinks of dance as one very limited thing. And maybe that's why they think it's stupid. But, like, there's all different types of genres. There's all different ways to dance. There's different types of music that you can dance to. Or you could dance without music, maybe. Maybe that is maybe dancing.
I can think of at least 4 different dancing arcade video games.
4, really?
At least 4.
DDR, Let's Dance. Those are the 2 I know.
There's Pump It Up and Para Paradise. And those are the 4 that I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, and then there's, like, the Just Dance series that's on, like, the video game consoles.
Just Dance, yeah.
Oh, that might have been what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Let's Dance. I don't know.
But it's interesting because we found a way to turn dancing itself into a video game. Mm-hmm. And that's, I feel like, one of the few physical activities that you can do that with. I know there are, like, a handful of exercising video games, but I feel like dance is just such a fun, expressive way to play a game.
It's dancing or fighting. Those are the 2 things I can think of.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone have a fighting video game that's, very physical in nature.
I mean, like, Wii boxing. You had to do all the punching movements.
True. Yeah. The Wii was really a powerhouse for these kinds of things.
I want to say, lest we fall in the trap of ignoring a perspective here, there are possibly other reasons that people might think dancing is stupid other than an insecurity. I don't want to just accuse people of being insecure and dismiss that, but there could also be like people who watch a film genre and then there's a dance segment and they don't like that part of the movie or something like that. But I don't know. We don't have time to go into why people like musicals, but that could be another hour in itself.
Very much true.
There's one more thing that I wanted to bring up, and this is a question specifically to Jim. So, Jim, the title of this episode is Foxtrot Tango Kaiju, which is mostly radio speak for FTK. And I literally just realized today that you picked Foxtrot and Tango because they are dances.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Kaiju instead of Kilo because we talked about giant monsters in that episode. But I wanted to know, is there a significance to the initials FTK?
I just picked the NATO phonetic dances and then Kaiju.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, thank you, Sydney, for joining us for our 200th episode.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Dance on, people.
Yeah.
Nice. Hunter is here. Welcome back.
Hi.
Hello.
The question we would like to ask you, we first discussed with Brian in episode 168, Spooky Gravity. Would an elevator lift a ghost, or would it have to fly up under its own power?
It still
the
makes
ghost,
me chuckle.
not the elevator.
Oh, it still makes me chuckle. Would an elevator lift a ghost? The answer is no.
Whoa, definitive.
I am convinced of this. I believe that that ghosts are these memories, these fragments of the psyche of the deceased, and encoded in that psyche is the laws of the universe that the ghosts operate under. Right? Like there's a universal rule of ghosts, and this is how ghosts work in this movie or this TV show. Every ghost is its own rules of how the ghost works.
Okay.
So if the ghost doesn't understand that like their mode of transportation is moved on, like it's just there. It's doing its own thing, floating up and down between the floors after the construction changed the shape of the building. That's my statement. That's my definitive.
Okay.
I think that makes perfect sense. And I mean, when you get right down to it, would a ghost even care?
They're
well,
chilling.
It depends. Was the ghost, is it an unfinished business kind of ghost? And their whole thing was, I want to get to the top of the building in the elevator? Then they might care.
I love the idea of like the different modes of transportation ghosts. Like just like a slowly moving train ghost on the tracks. Like we're still using the old tracks, but the modern trains are faster and they're just flying. The ghost is just like kind of slowly chugging along. I just think about ghosts floating around. I want chairlift ghosts. Up and down, like 30 feet above the ground. I look up where the ski resort used to be and isn't anymore.
I was going to say the building is gone.
Yeah. It's just like I look up, I just see a ghost sitting there above me, just floating up the mountain slowly.
Okay, so here's a pitch then. We have a chairlift ghost, so a person sitting in a seated position, ascending sideways and diagonally up.
Yeah.
How open to vandalism is that? Like, can somebody go and just rig a broom to sit underneath them to make it look like a traditional Halloween witch or something?
That'll be challenging on chairlift ghost, but it's a little bit easier on funicular ghost.
Oh, okay.
I think one of the things that this reminds me of is the idea of like abandoned highways and things like that. Like I know cutting through the middle of Pennsylvania, there's a like 14 or some odd number of miles stretch of highway that was totally abandoned back in the 60s. And I'm like, oh, ghost cars driving that same route. And that would be kind of interesting as well. Ghosts that are driving or riding or being in a vehicle of some sort that vehicle is just gone. And so they're just kind of hovering in nowhere.
Yeah, they're doing the shifter or they're doing the pedals.
Yeah.
So I like this for two different angles here, because you're suggesting the ghosts are in the driving position, but the car wouldn't necessarily be there, just the memory of the action. So that, going back to elevators, you could be in an elevator, an antique elevator that is still in use, and just be passing these ghosts that are going to constantly be moving at a different speed and going in a different direction than you. So they'll be passing through the ceilings and the floors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You make a really good point to extrapolate off of what you're saying. Why aren't ghosts naked? Why did the clothes, if the elevator didn't come with them?
Well, I don't think that's the point I made, but you're right.
I'm pretty sure that's the point you were making.
The clothes also died.
The clothes died. Yeah. Why aren't ghosts naked, Derek?
Casper the Friendly Ghost is naked.
That's true.
That's true.
Naked boy. Naked boy ghost.
If ghosts are a memory, then there's a certain level of either the spectator's projection onto them or their own feeling, but then that doesn't answer why they don't have a car as well. So I don't know. The ghost is just comfortable wearing clothes, so it manifests wearing clothes.
Yeah, there's the inside of the car, but not the outside of the car.
Maybe the ghost sees the car, from the inside, but we don't see the car.
You have to ask the ghost then.
Yeah, we got some flipped normals on that one. That's a joke for all the 3D modelers. So the planet's trajectory has shifted over time.
Yeah.
You think there's just like a circumference of ghosts hanging out in space? The planet moved, and the ghosts are just.
I think.
What are they relative to?
Oh, I thought where you were going with this was that's what the Van Allen radiation belt was made of.
Yeah, that's the point you were going to make, right?
Yeah. The Northern Lights are just the real stretched out ghosts.
Yeah,
That's just Jerry.
I seem to remember us coming to the conclusion that that's why ghost sightings aren't common, is because actually most of the ghosts are just in the planet's trail out in space, like light years away at this point.
Just waiting for the planet to come back round. I'll get him on the next pass.
I wonder if it ever will.
Every 251 million years we get back around.
Oh, okay.
I feel bad for all the astronaut ghosts haunting the moon, just like waiting for someone else to go haunt.
Yeah.
Or like cave ghosts, like the real desolate locations. Abandoned islands, and it's just like, man, like I really got some unfinished business here. I really wish someone would come here so I could finish this business and haunt them.
Yeah. That's like Gilligan's Island. I mean, if they had all died on the island, it would have been forever until they could actually hunt somebody.
Yeah, which
Wasn't
they did.
Lost? Wasn't that the plot of Lost?
Oh, was it?
I don't know.
No, and Gilligan's
Island, mostly
a
joke.
They all died.
They all died. It was purgatory all along, just like every children's cartoon.
The fog got them.
That was the plot to Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I know. I think
that they were got by the fog.
Yes.
Has anyone died on a water slide? And is their ghost having fun?
Ooh. I know someone has died on a water slide very gruesomely.
I'm inclined to think that if they died on the water slide, they probably weren't having fun at the time. So the ghost probably still isn't.
I think they were having fun up to the part where they stopped having fun.
which is the part where they stopped.
Yeah, it's not the falling that kills you, it's the landing.
Bobsled ghosts.
Bobsled.
Is that anything?
I like the word association approach to answering these questions.
What other modes of transportation ghosts are there?
I was thinking tornado ghost. Like not that tornadoes are a mode of transportation, but like if you get flung into the sky. Although I guess that it's really the landing that once again is the problem.
Yeah, well, you could get hit by debris.
It's just a ghost floating around in circles up there. Just flinging around like,
why? What is it trying to tell us with all these sporadic movements? Oh, it died in a tornado.
Don't go into the tornadoes.
Don't go into well, speaking of not going into tornadoes, Hunter, please don't go into any tornadoes. But thank you for coming back, and we'll see you next time.
Pleasure as always.
Jim, I was looking at our archive of old episodes, and I came across one called Filling Your Tires with Solid Helium. It's episode 93, apparently, and I don't remember recording this one.
I don't think you should fill your tires with solid helium.
Yeah, I don't either, but, well, this appears to have been sometime in April of our 4th year doing the show. I guess Justin must have recorded it by himself or something. I don't know, but anyway, one of the questions listed is magnets. How do they work? This is obviously a reference to that song, I guess. Anyway, David just walked in. Hey, David, magnets, how do they work?
Wait, what song?
That Insane Clown Passy song, right?
What? Oh, I'm just curious about magnets.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, me too. How do magnets work?
I don't know. I assume some kind of suction.
I bet
Jim,
that's
how do
probably
magnets
true.
work?
Well, I know that they work with magnetism.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That sounds like a pseudoscience to me.
That's fair. Fair.
One of the things that I think is very fun about magnets is that they have a magnetic field around them, and you can convert that magnetic field into electrical energy, and you can convert electrical energy into magnetism, and so you get electromagnetism. And I just think that's weird.
Yeah. It's one of the mysteries of the universe that nobody actually really understands.
Yeah, I've never met a scientist.
I've never met... Well, I don't know. I was talking to Dave about this yesterday, actually, as of the day that we're recording this, and a point that was made about that song as a whole. I believe that song's called Miracles, and they talk about a bunch of things that happen in the natural world and say these are all miracles, and I think it's interesting that science is very interested in things that happen in the natural world, and a miracle by a religious definition is something that actually goes against the natural order of the world. And they talk about things like magnets and children being born, and those are very natural things.
Yeah. One of the things that I always take away from, not necessarily that song, I've never actually heard that whole song, just that chunk.
I've heard a chunk of it.
But my big takeaway is that just because something is a normal natural phenomenon doesn't make it really incredible, and, could still be considered a miracle, because I think that, the way that light reflects off of mud puddles is really cool. But I guess there's nothing really scientifically, mysterious about that. But I still think it's really incredible.
That might come down to the literal definition of miracle versus the colloquial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they say, oh, childbirth is a miracle, but if, then some pedant will say, well, no, it's a natural occurrence. I was like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know.
where we've been here in the world as well,
we're just saying we're happy that it happened.
I don't know. I think, regarding Derek's mentioning of our conversation, I think what I was kind of noting in the Miracles song, where they are confused about magnets, is there was the whole, and then you guys talked about they don't want to talk to a scientist. It's funny that they don't want to talk to a scientist, but they're kind of talking about all of these natural phenomena in the world that are wondrous and mysterious, and I feel like that is the motivation for a lot of people to become scientists, because what is science but the study of the natural world and the things that we find fascinating, right? I mean, obviously it has a utilitarian purpose as well of potentially solving problems for humanity and so on. But I think the spark of curiosity and wonder and adventure is I think a big formative part of why people start, or at least many people start down that path of, it's a desire to learn. It's a desire to try to understand that which is not currently understood.
Yeah.
I know we've talked a handful of episodes on this show. The topic has come up of like the scientific method and how children learning to make observations is doing science. And when people say a scientist, they have this idea that that's like a position of authority or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to be a scientist, you're just somebody who makes observations about things and then like learns about them.
One of the things I actually enjoy about this podcast in particular is you guys really do kind of a lot to demystify science at points. I mean, obviously it's a very silly show. We talk about silly things, but like, I think this is a recurring point that comes up. It's like, hey, science is just this. It's not, people have a lot of ideas. It's almost politicized, like I think in certain circles, it really is, politicized and put on this pedestal. It was like, oh, it's science. And people have, it's a trigger word, it's like, people have this idea of the word science in their heads and it gets them thinking about all these other things that is really not. And I think you guys routinely bring it back to the roots of like, hey, this is just, it's asking questions. It's asking questions about the world. And I think that is really good for people to hear. I think I think people need to be should be comfortable with the idea of wanting to learn. That's what makes things better.
I agree with that. I really want that entire basically speech that you just gave to be printed up and put on the dust jacket of our book when if ever we have a book.
Because I write a book. I ain't writing it for you. I'll give you the cover, but like that's it. You gotta write the rest.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people get very annoyed with science for quote unquote changing its mind. And it's like, no, science is not changing its mind. It's that we had this set of facts that told us one thing, and now we have a much larger set of facts that is giving us a more complete picture about what's actually going on. And in much the same way that you look at dinosaurs. And, when we first discovered T-Rex 100 and some years ago, it walks like Godzilla walks, where they thought it dragged its tail on the ground and it kind of walked upright and was really slow and lumbering. And now we have a more complete picture where it's like, okay, no, this was like an apex predator that ran with its tail in the air and it could really move. And also maybe had feathers. Hey, when I was a kid, we didn't know dinosaurs had feathers. So
yeah,
it's not science changing its mind. It's us finding new info.
Well, now we're talking about the skin being pulled tight over the skeletons of dinosaurs is just like a big assumption that has always been made. And the idea of the T-Rex from like Jurassic Park. Now they've come out with History Channel specials where they depict the T-Rex as a creature with feathers. And I know a bunch of people are like, that's not what the T-Rex, they changed what the T-Rex looked like. And well, the science has developed and that's what they thought it looked like back then.
Yeah. I watched an IMAX movie about T-Rex recently, and the current version of T-Rex, they say, has a dad bod. They think it was kind of a little chunkier than we think it was.
Well, thanks, Dave, for that really, I don't know, I think insightful take on what we do on this silly show of ours. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I have insights sometimes.
All right, listeners, thanks for being here for our 200th episode celebration, our walk down memory lane, our celebration of the past 8 years. If there is a question that we've done on this show before that we didn't address today, that you'd like to hear us talk more about, let us know. If you have thoughts on that or anything else of the various things we talked about in this episode, you can email us at feedback@vaguelyscientific.com, or you can comment on our blog at vaguelyscientific.com. You can like us on Facebook, or you can follow us on Blue Sky at Vaguely Scientific, and you can comment on the YouTube feed that comes out concurrently with the release of these episodes. Mm-hmm. Hey, Jim, where did we get all of these wacky questions?
Oh, we got them from you, the listener. And if you have a question that needs to be answered in a vaguely scientific manner, please email us at questions@vaguelyscientific.com. If you want to get our episodes the minute that they're released, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and all the other great places the cool podcasts like to hang out. And subscribing and leaving feedback really helps us out, and so does telling your friends.
Tell 200 friends, they'll each get their own episode.
Ooh, there we go.
Right? Yeah.
Our vaguely musical intro is composed by Anthony Pizzelli, and don't forget to check out our merch store over at vaguelyscientific.threadless.com. We've been plugging it for, well, it hasn't been 200 episodes we've been plugging it, but it's got some cool stuff in there, and I won't lie, there are a lot of things that I have purchased for myself, so give it a perusal.
Yeah, a lot of different designs. We like adding to them, too.
Yeah.
So I don't have time to do everyone individually, but thank you to all of our guests for making time to be here today. Mm-hmm. In fact, thank you to everyone who's ever been on this show before. And thank you, Jim, for being co-host with me. For Vaguely Scientific, I'm Derek.
I'm Jim, and thank you for being co-host with me.
Hooray! Toodaloo, everybody, right?
Yeah!
And we've been trying to give the floor to the third seat as much as possible, so I'm probably going to read the question and then let you take the wheel, but of course you were not required to write a whole speech, so Jim and I are still here to have a conversation.
Yeah, it's not a TED Talk, it's a roundtable discussion, I guess. I was trying to think of a funny thing to say, but it didn't come.